let's get into this, shall we? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to week 2, our Sunday morning live stream covering all things fantasy football prior to kickoff. Some call this kickoff with Kirchhoff. I call it just a normal Sunday where we get to enjoy each other's company and, of course, the efforts of our fantasy prospects, hopefully leading us to victory. Welcome for the next 3 hours with with a lot of chaos, with a lot of potential changes in the rankings that you guys can see at the right side of the screen. I will be attempting to answer everyone's questions to the best of my abilities. So, in order to do so, and do so effectively with all the time constraints that we currently have, be sure to let me know what your scoring format is if you're going to ask a question. It certainly will help. If you're going to ask a question that regards hey, Andrew, who am I trading for? Today's not the day. We're trying to figure out who we're starting. We're trying to decipher all of the potential, in or out players going into the given week. I believe I've done a pretty good job in terms of collecting all the data that I can in regards to all of the players that were on the injury report as of this week. Nonetheless, I'm ready to go. As you guys can see to the right side of the screen, there are rankings that are available that give you guys a demonstration of what we potentially expect to see, or that's at least what I'm projecting to see. I have my top 36 ranked running backs, wide receivers, top 16 ranked quarterbacks, and tight ends. These have been updated as of this morning, so they're good to go with everything that is included, which even includes the potential of Deontay Foreman, who is a healthy scratch today. That only helps Roschon Johnson get himself more utilization within this backfield alongside of Khalil Herbert. Neither of them will now have to compete with the touches that Deontay Foreman was scooping up last week. Outside of that, let's get into answering questions. Again, the rankings that you guys can see on the right side of the screen are for a half PPR scoring format and are also for a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Again, just trying to meet everyone in the middle, provide free rankings to the best of my ability, and let's get it going, shall we? Okay, let's see. Whose question do we start off with? We had Mike Whelan. Thank you very much, Mike. Starting us off today. Says, in a full PPR, Andrew, do I play Zach Moss or Samaje Perine? I'll take Zach Moss this week. Yeah, Samaje Perine did look great. He was hyper efficient, but I think Zach Moss's overall opportunity as the lead back of this backfield, having a full week of practice, and obviously the debacle that was Deion Jackson leads me to believe that Zach Moss will get himself a hefty opportunity share within the given week against an advantageous matchup going against the Houston defense. Thank you. Matthew 1031 says, good morning, Andrew. In a full PPR, start injured DeAndre Hopkins or play Chris Godwin. At this point, so from the history of fantasy football, for as long as I can remember, DeAndre Hopkins is one of those tough, SOBs that really will play injured, and he will consistently do so. He has a lot of pride, and he wants to play no matter what the circumstance. So as long as, he's able to, he's going to try to play. That being said, in this current week, as you guys can see from my half PPR rankings, I have adjusted accordingly. DeAndre Hopkins did not practice all week. Whatever he's dealing with, it is certainly going to bother him. And even though it's a great matchup, I would rather play, Chris Godwin in this given week based on the circumstance. Thank you. Michael Barton sends in a question. Thank you very much, Michael. Michael says, pick one for the flex in a full PPR scoring format. Okay, here we got. We have Jahan Dotson, less coverage. Terry McLaurin, healthy. Okay, understood. Yeah, so that you're just giving context. Okay, got it. Number 2 would be Puka Nacua and his illustrious target share that he's probably going to haul in today. And then we have Flowers stacked with Lamar. Andrews is healthy. Okay, so out of those 3 options in a full PPR scoring format, I'll take the target share. I'll take the higher likelihood of overall receptions. It would be Puka number 1. It would be Flowers number 2. And it would be Jahan Dotson number 3. Thank you. Appreciate it. JD sends in a question, says Higbee or Freiermuth. How do I have it ranked on screen? We currently have Freiermuth at 7 and Higbee at 8. Again, the assumption is that Kenny Pickett he's going to be under duress for majority of that game. There is a chance that on Monday night, both of the starting offensive guards for the Pittsburgh Steelers end up missing, and that is generally why I have Najee Harris as low as I currently have him ranked. That also being said, with George Pickens being the primary number 1 of that offense, there is a high likelihood that he'll pull coverage from Denzel Ward, which is worrisome. So the best overall matchup could end up being Freiermuth in that game. I'm expecting him to at least have a little bit of a better week than he had last week. Yes, he found the end zone, but unfortunately only had 1 reception on the given week nonetheless. So I'll take Fryer over Higbee. As for your follow-up question, Indianapolis defense or Steelers, I'll take Indy's defense. And then you have to follow up by saying you have Watson. Yeah, I do just prefer outright Indy's defense this week at the current moment in time. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jason in the chat was saying Mike Williams or Flowers in the flex in a full PPR. Okay, as you guys can see on screen, I have rankings. So if we were to adjust them, let me see. Is there much of an adjustment that we need to make? Because like on screen in the half PPR, I have Mike Williams at 20 and I have Zay Flowers at 23. I wonder if Zay Flowers jumps him by much, because I'm assuming the injection of someone like, you know, Mark Andrews into the lineup is certainly going to take away some of that target share that he saw. Nonetheless, let's see. Is there going to be a shift? So literally the only shift that we have is that they're back-to-back in a full PPR. I would still play Mike Williams in the given week. If you prefer Zay Flowers in a full PPR, again, I have him back-to-back 22-23. So if you're feeling more confident about Zay Flowers, roll with it. Jason, thank you. All right, let's see here. We had a question from Phil. Phil, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Hey, Andrew, in a full PPR, pick 2 running backs. We have Gibbs, Chubb, Walker. Okay, so out of those 3 running backs going into the week, we'll take Chubb first and foremost, then Gibbs second. The issue with Walker is that both of his starting offensive tackles, Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, they're both out. Abraham Lucas, the right tackle, he's on the injured reserve. Cross is out for the foreseeable future. I don't know how many weeks he's going to be out for, but not having your starting offensive tackles is certainly going to make a huge difference in your overall efforts. So we'll take Gibbs and we'll take Chubb. Moving on, your other question is you need 1 wide receiver and a singular flex. You already started Devonta Smith on Thursday, which is fantastic. You already have Chase, Waddle, Evans, and okay, so you have Chase, Waddle, Evans, and Zay Flowers. Need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. I mean, you play Chase as your wide receiver, which I think that's a pretty easy roll there. And then I would roll with Waddle this week. I know he was, in comparison to someone like Mike Evans, underwhelming in terms of his overall contribution, but it was really just a concerted effort to get the ball at the Tyreek Hill. Today's going to be a little bit different. Bill Belichick's going to try to double cover Tyreek Hill for almost the entirety of the day and force him to have 0 receptions, even though he won't be successful. Waddle should be able to step up because of those overall efforts, and obviously looking towards someone that's not double covered for the entire game. Kennifer sends in a question. Thank you very much. It says Wilson, Jay Cook, Williams, Kelly, Puka, full PPR. I need a flex 1. Okay, so let's see. Where do we have all these players? It said full PPR, right? Yes, full PPR flex. Okay, so let's go ahead. All right, so of the available, Garrett Wilson's not playing out of that group. That's a given. If it's between it's James Cook. I don't know which Williams you're referring to. Guys, if you can do me a favor, let me know. If you're going to designate Williams as a question, make sure you designate whether it's Mike, Javonte, Jamal. Like, there are a lot of Williams in the league, so it'll certainly help me in terms of understanding where we're going with that. If I had to suggest one, though, in a full PPR at the current moment in time, it'll be James Cook. Thank you. Prolific Mac says, Evans or Dillon this week in a full PPR. I will take A.J. Dillon. The expectation based on everything that is trending is that Aaron Jones is going to miss. They've already elevated a practice squad running back to join the active roster because, again, we're expecting Aaron Jones not to play. And with that being the case, A.J. Dillon, with the full workload of opportunity of this backfield taking on Atlanta's defense, I will roll with him. Obviously, we've demonstrated over the years that when A.J. Dillon is given an ample set of opportunity, not only just snaps but touches, he can also get himself workload through the receiving game. I think it's perfect there as the play. Phil in the chat was following up saying, also, I have CeeDee Lamb as well. Does that change the Waddle pick? Oh, you have Lamb as well? Wait. So, yeah, it would be Gibbs and Chubb as your 1-2 running backs. Your Devonta Smith is already playing. Chase should play. And then, yeah, CeeDee Lamb should play ahead of Waddle in the given week because there's going to be no Brandon Cooks. So it'll just be it'll just be CeeDee Lamb as the primary number 1. Gallup gets a little bit of a boost as the number 2 receiver. And there is, a little bit of a boost for a guy like Jake Ferguson. But ultimately, yeah, CeeDee Lamb would be that number 2 or at least your flex option in the given week. Xavier W in the chat was saying, can I get the defensive order? Yeah, let's go ahead and let's do that right now. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for joining me. If we can go ahead and potentially set a goal here. There's 800 of you guys concurrently here on the channel. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Again, as you guys can see on the right side of the screen, we have updated rankings as of this morning for a half PPR scoring format. I would love to share my top 12 defenses and kickers. If you guys could do me a favor, click the like button. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, not even, maybe a half of a millisecond, but it certainly helps continue to support the channel. If we can get I don't know. I mean, at least half of you to hit the like button. We'll get right into we'll get right into establishing the top 12 defenses and kickers for the given week. We'll obviously mention that as the entire live stream goes on, but the more likes we can get, the better off we are. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see here. Tommy Vu says full PPR. Start Godwin or Lockett. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. So here's the difference. I like Lockett a lot, mainly because whatever happened last week was a complete debacle of their offense. I don't think they're going to regress back in that form again, especially considering Lockett was the first 2 receptions of the game and then didn't have a singular reception for the final, I don't know, I mean, the rest of the game. The final catch he had was 14 minutes left in the first quarter, and then obviously he was evaluated for a concussion. He did end up returning to the game, but did not have a singular reception for the rest of the time. I mean, I think this is going to be a game in which, similar to last year, it's going to be a higher scoring event between these two teams. Without both starting offensive tackles, Geno Smith's going to probably have to throw the ball a consistent amount, and with that, he's going to have to get the ball out of his hands quickly. So I'm expecting a lot of utilization out of Lockett today. That being said, it doesn't mean that Godwin isn't a great player. He's got himself a pretty good matchup himself, considering the starting nickel corner Kyler Gordon is not playing this week for the Chicago Bears. That should put us in a pretty good spot there. Thank you. Let's see here. Christopher, thank you very much. Says, I got a feeling that Jerry Jeudy is about to go off. Agree? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I have him ranked where I do. Jerry Jeudy's at my number 17 wide receiver, primarily because he is Russell Wilson's favorite, receiving target over the year that we've seen them play together. So as long as Jerry Jeudy's active, there was no limitations as to his practice schedule, and Sean Payton even said that they're not going to have him on a pitch count or a limit of overall snaps. Therefore, I'm expecting his full, utilization within the offense in a game in which it will be difficult to run the ball against Washington's front seven. But nonetheless, Jerry Jeudy should be able to alleviate that with, the third down pressure that he makes. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. JD asks a question. He says, Anthony Richardson or Watson? I'm torn. Yeah, I'd go Anthony Richardson. Considering Watson has a possibility of not having Amari Cooper out on the field, that is concerning to me. On top of it, we know that the Pittsburgh Steelers got ran through in terms of, not having Cam Hayward out there. It's going to be a game in which we see a lot of rushing attempts from not only Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, but also Elijah Moore. On the other end, when we have Anthony Richardson out there playing as well as he did last week, now he takes on Houston. Both their starting safeties are out. I think this is a matchup where it does lend well to an inexperienced quarterback, specifically to take on Houston's defense. I mean, if you're able to do as much as he did against the Jaguars, I think he's more than capable of finding success against the Texans. Let's see here. What is this new report? That's just saying that Claypool is going to be active. I mean, nobody's playing Claypool, so that's irrelevant. Okay, moving on. Again, if we can click the like button, greatly appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Let's see here. We had a question coming from Old Muffin. Says, full PPR, Dobbs, Lockett, Shaheed, Zay Jones, Nico Collins. If I'm picking one, I'm playing Tyler Lockett. Thank you very much. Moving on, AM says Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, Roshan Johnson, Zach Moss in a full PPR scoring format. Considering that they are going to still limit Breece Hall to an extent in terms of his overall snap counts, I'll take Zach Moss out of that group. In a full PPR, I like the idea of Roshan Johnson, even though he's not the suggestion in this overall circumstance. The amount of utilization he has found in the receiving game and the amount of checkdowns that Justin Fields just had in general last week was quite surprising. If they continue on that pace, Roshan Johnson certainly will have value in the given week in a full PPR. Nonetheless, I will take Zach Moss in that regard. Thank you. Flow Easy says CeeDee Lamb over Mike Williams. Thank you very much. Yeah. Sauce will cover him. Yeah, look, here's the thing. Sauce Gardner doesn't follow receivers. Even last week when I made the proclamation of, hey, he's going to follow Stephon Diggs, I even went and did additional research. They don't have Sauce Gardner follow a number one receiver. They don't do that at all, in fact. So even if you go back to I don't know what the numbers were for last game, but I mean, just watching the game, Sauce Gardner was not covering him for majority of the contest. Even when you go back to 2022's last meeting between the Jets and the Bills in specific, Sauce Gardner only covered Stephon Diggs on like 30% of the routes that he ran. So it's not going to be like a, hey, blanket coverage in which we're getting Sauce Gardner on CeeDee Lamb for the entirety of the game. So I wouldn't panic in that regard, Flo. Thank you. So play CeeDee Lamb. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question roll in from Sal says, in a half PPR scoring format, okay, we have to pick 3 between Zay Flowers, Tyler Lockett, Josh Kelly, and Zach Moss. All right, in a half PPR, my suggestions would be, let's see here. Do I have? I'm gonna assume that it's Flowers, Lockett, and Kelly, but let me just go ahead and reference my rankings at this point. Let's go to the half PPR. Let's look up Flowers, and then where do I have him in comparison to Zach Moss in the half PPR format? Where is Zach Moss? Okay, so there's Flowers, and there's Moss. Yeah, so as expected, we will roll with Lockett, Flowers, and Kelly this week. Thank you. Okay, reminder for those of you who are just joining us this morning, if you guys have gone ahead and used code Andrew via Underdog Fantasy over the course of the last month and a half, whether it's, from the beginning of August 1st, 2023 till obviously the last couple days, be sure to check your email. I will have already sent rankings as of this morning. That includes, top 30 quarterbacks, top, 60 running backs, 80 wide receivers, top 100 flex, all that kind of jazz. Includes kicker and defensive rankings, half PPR and full PPR. So if you've already signed up using code Andrew, made that first time deposit, minimum of $10, you should already have an email. Check your spam folder. As of this morning, I sent it around 3 a.m. I'd have to guess. I mean, I was up until the wee hours of the morning, just kind of getting everything established, making sure I was good to go. So in that regard, keep an eye out for that. Additionally, for those of you who have not done so and would like to, for future weeks, again, I send rankings out every single Sunday morning. All you got to do is sign up via Underdog Fantasy. There's a link down in the description. Use code Andrew. Make a first-time deposit, minimum of $10. Currently, right now, if I'm not mistaken, they have a pick'em slip kind of play of Christian McCaffrey, 0.5 total yards today. You can go ahead, put that together with a slip, and find a lot of success. Thank you very much. All right, let's see here. We had a question that came in from Fainsky. Fainsky, hope you're doing well, man. Says, PPR. I need one flex, Algier, Pacheco, Moss. I have Bijan Robinson. I'd still play Algier there. Thank you very much. Joe Hall sends in a question, says, in a half PPR, Andrew, Dobbs versus Michael Thomas. Okay, Dobbs versus Michael Thomas. I'll play Michael Thomas. The absence of J.C. Horn certainly will benefit Michael Thomas's overall upside within the given week. Dobbs will be covered because I'm expecting Christian Watson not to play. He will be covered by A.J. Terrell, which is not an easy matchup in comparison to what he was facing last week against Chicago. Additionally, your follow-up question is David Njoku versus Jake Ferguson. I'll take David Njoku. Again, like I've mentioned all week, the emphasis that Kevin Stefanski specifically puts on the tight end position when they take on Pittsburgh, whether it's been 2022, 2021, is apparent. David Njoku should have himself a great game, especially with the potential of Amari Cooper missing or being limited in the given contest. Thank you. Alex Apking, long time no see, a familiar name though. Hey Andrew, long time subscriber. Yep, I know, from Cincinnati. Love the shows. I need a flex and RB2 out of the following. We have DJ Moore, James Conner, Jahmyr Gibbs, and a full PPR. Awesome. All right, Alex, let's see what we got here. So DJ Moore, James Conner, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Full PPR, let's see where I have them accordingly ranked. So we have Gibbs there. Now, where is Conner in comparison? Conner's there, and where's DJ Moore? Yeah, so out of the 3 options, it would be Jahmyr Gibbs and DJ Moore. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Alex. Kevin Smith says, full PPR. I need a flex between Sutton, Mooney, and or Darren Waller. I'll play Darren Waller there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Kevin. Ankit Patel, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Order these in the following from Flex full PPR. We have Jamal, we have Bourne, we have Rashid Shaheed, Rashad White, Pacheco, Dobbs, Khalil Herbert, Kieran Williams. Okay, so let's see if I can organize this relatively quickly. In a full PPR, if I'm flex ranking these off the top of my head, I would go Jamal Williams number 1. Then it would follow it up with Rashad White 2, Romeo Dobbs 3. It would be Rashid Shaheed 4, Khalil Herbert 5, Kieran Williams 6. Hopefully you heard that. Hopefully we're good to go. Awesome. Thank you very much, Ankit. Appreciate it. Manolo sends in a question, says, pick 2, Andrew. Amari Cooper, Zach Moss, Romeo Dobbs. Okay, so of the available, Amari Cooper, Zach Moss, and Romeo Dobbs, we don't have 100% indication as to whether or not Amari Cooper is even going to play on Monday. Obviously, the report came out yesterday that he re-aggravated his groin injury. That being said, if you have a positional kind of pivot on the Monday night games, again, on Monday night, we not only have the Carolina Panthers taking on the New Orleans Saints, but we also have, of course, the Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if in fact you have someone else within that matchup that is on your team and you can risk holding and waiting for Amari Cooper, I don't mind that. If you don't, you play Zach Moss, you play Romeo Doubs, and you're good to go there. Let's see here. Do have Jaylen Warren if Amari Cooper doesn't go? Yeah. In comparison, like I was thinking if you had like Rashid Shaheed for the New Orleans game earlier in the day, but if you don't have somebody of that caliber, I don't know if I'm willing to start a Jaylen Warren in the given matchup. So I'd probably just suggest playing the two players you have available today. Thank you. Anthony Barrett, hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Hey, bud, in a full PPR, Algier or Josh Kelly? In a full PPR, I'll take Josh Kelly there. Again, my assumption with Josh Kelly is that, especially when we look at what exactly not only the Chargers were able to accomplish against Tennessee last year, we had a privilege of watching the Dallas Cowboys take on Tennessee in Week 17 of last season. In that game, Kellen Moore obviously was the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. There was an established point, hey, we're going to run the ball in both these circumstances, regardless of the matchup on hand. I am not worried about Joshua Kelly, being hamstrung by a lack of opportunities. They're going to allow him to run the ball. His effectiveness is obviously going to be, hurt because when you go up against Tennessee, it's not an easy task at hand, but he will see receiving work. He will get the goal line work outright by himself. Isaiah Spiller's not going to be able to contest in that regard. And I see it, Joshua Kelly being a great play in the given week. Okay. For those of you who are just joining us this morning, welcome. Good morning to a wonderful week 2. As you guys can see on the right side of the screen, we have updated rankings as for top 36 running backs and wide receivers. In a half PPR scoring format, top 16 tight ends, also in the same format, and a top 16 quarterback ranking for a 4-point per passing touchdown format. If there are players that are not named on the list and you have a question regarding them, again, make sure that your question in the chat or whether you send it in via super chat does have a some sort of proclamation as to, hey, what the scoring format is, because I see Cody Johnson, he says pick 2, Collins, Algier, Jamal, Judy, and MT. There's no scoring format regarded in there. Assuming, I'm just looking at the question, I just guess, all right, let's just roll with half PPR. If we were going to do that, I would suggest probably playing in a half PPR, Algier and Jamal Williams probably in that regard. That's what I'm thinking. So again, if you can go, and there's another question, Treylon Burks or Marquise Brown? At this point, I'd probably still have Marquise Brown higher ranked because, the thing about Treylon Burks is I don't trust Ryan Tannehill enough to be able to support 2 wide receivers in the given offense. That's the issue there. Thank you. All right. Also, while I'm following up, making sure we're all good, a reminder: if we can click the like button, there's about 1,100 of you in here. All I'm looking to see is, as long as we get over 400, I'll be able to talk about my top 12 defenses and kickers so that we're all on the same page. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question that rolled in from, where art thou? Let's see here. Scroll back up. We took care of Anthony Barrett. Your Fact channel says, Judy or over Kirk? Full PPR, yes. I would play Jerry Judy over Christian Kirk this week. Thank you. The Slurry 1 says, I need 2 between Dylan, Brian Robinson, Moore, Pittman, and Najee Harris. So out of the following in a full PPR scoring format, I would suggest playing A.J. Dillon first and foremost. And then the follow-up after that would be to roll with, I like DJ Moore over Michael Pittman Jr., primarily because I know what Michael Pittman Jr. is going to see in terms of coverage. It's going to be Steven Nelson. He's a really good coverage cornerback, and that's the only thing that I'm worried about in regards to that Colts game in general. Outside of that, for DJ Moore, there's no Carlton Davis. He's out in the given week. So I'll go with A.J. Dillon and DJ Moore in the given week. Thank you. Okay, so now that we were able to surpass 400 likes, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. All right, let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and mention my top 12 kickers and defenses for the given week. Let's begin with defenses. Starting with our number 1, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers. Number 3, New Orleans Saints. Number 4, Cleveland Browns. Number 5, Denver Broncos. Number 6, Buffalo Bills. Number 7, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 8, New York Giants. Number 9, we have the Green Bay Packers. Number 10, Indianapolis Colts. Number 11, Atlanta Falcons. And number 12, New York Jets. Moving on to top 12 kickers, we have the following. Number 1, Justin Tucker. Number 2, Tyler Bass. Number 3, Jake Moody. Number 4, Evan McPherson. Number 5, Harrison Butker. Number 6, Blake Grupe. Number 7, Nick Folk. Number 8, Cameron Dicker. Number 9, Jason Sanders. Number 10, Younghoe Koo. Number 11, Brandon McManus. And number 12, to close it out, Daniel Carlson. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's get back to answering some questions. Let's see. We had Chris. Chris sent in a super chat, but there wasn't anything attached to it. Let's see if I can find it. I don't think I'll be able to, though, to be honest. Yeah, there's nothing in the chat. Hey, Chris, if you could do me a favor, type in the chat so I can answer your question. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Until then, Vino Sino says, in a full PPR, play Calvin Austin on Monday night. He had 6 receptions, and Deontay Johnson is out. And I'm thinking of playing him since Christian Watson is out in my flex. My other options are Puka Nacua or Rashad Bateman. I would just play Puka Nacua. I mean, the 15 target overall, volume of opportunity is far too potent, in my opinion, to look past. So I would play Puka Nacua over Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin, again, not a bad option, but ultimately I don't think it has as high of an upside accordingly, especially with the game script for the Los Angeles Rams, most likely being them having to catch up for majority of the game and passing. It's going to look like, to me, a better game for Puka overall. Thank you. Taco says, in a full PPR, who do I flex? Puka Nacua, Breece Hall, Romeo Doubs. In a full PPR, I would play the Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. Following up, do I bench Brian Robinson Jr. for Breece Hall as my RB2 and flex one of these guys? Do I bench Brian Robinson for Breece Hall as my RB2 and flex one of these guys? Do you bench? Okay, so in general, I'd probably still play Brian Robinson, primarily because he's going to get himself 20 some odd touches over Breece Hall. So I wouldn't change that. I just play Puka Nacua in the flex and keep it rolling. If you want to play Breece Hall over Brian Robinson, by all means, they're pretty close in the rankings overall, so I don't have a problem with it. So you can roll with it there. But yeah, Puka should be in your flex. Thank you. Spenny says, I traded for Kelsey. Already got Andrews. Is it stupid to flex Mark Andrews in a half PPR format going forward? No, it's not. Again, if he's the best available player that you have on roster, you can flex him. Otherwise, you would look to potentially trade him after a big week and then be able to recoup value at a running back or wide receiver position, because you know that overall, the injury history of Mark Andrews, especially as of late, has been a little bit sketchy, a little bit worrisome, to say the least. So if you can pivot out of it after a big performance, wouldn't be a bad idea. Thank you, Spenny. Appreciate it. Full PPR, Jerry Jeudy or Puka Nacua, says Hildy in the chat. I would play Jerry Jeudy this week in a full PPR. Thank you. Blake Dean in the chat was asking Gabe Davis or Odell Beckham Jr. this week. I would play Gabe Davis there in a full PPR. Nathan in the chat was also asking full PPR Algier, Pierce, or Kelly. I would play Josh Kelly out of the bunch. Thank you. Brian Mills. Hope you're doing well, Brian. Thank you very much. Says, I need 1.5 PPR scoring format. Who do I start? Sam Laporta or Elijah Moore? I would play Elijah Moore there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Charles R. in a half PPR says, Kamara off waivers. Drop Alexander Madison or Rashad White. If I had to pick one rest of season, I'm probably picking Alexander Madison's had really tough matchups in the first 2 weeks. That has been a given based on where I've had him ranked. He obviously is kind of, week 1 was fine. Week 2, we didn't expect him to be great. He was outside of the top 30 in my rankings on Tuesday's video. Obviously didn't play well because that front 7 was, great, and his offensive line was already banged up going into the short week. So I would assume that Alexander Madison will have more value going forward. So I would probably drop Rashad White if you're trying to pick up Alvin Kamara. Thank you. Next question came in from FF. Thank you very much. As in a standard format, pick 2 for the flex. We have Jerry Jeudy, Tyler Lockett, Raheem Mostert, and Gus Edwards. As of those available players, I will play both the receivers. I'll take Lockett, I'll take Jeudy there. Follow up, in a half PPR scoring format, pick one RB2 plus a flex. Okay, so we have Mixon, Montgomery, Kelly, Algier. Bijan's my RB1 already. So with Bijan RB1 already, and this being a half PPR scoring format, guys, as you guys can see on screen, we have updated half PPR rankings on screen available as of this morning. So of the available players that you mentioned, my 2 suggestions would be David Montgomery and Joe Mixon going into today's games. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see here where we at. We had a question that rolled in from Nicholas. Thank you very much. Nicholas says, in a full PPR, Breece Hall, Nico Collins, Tutu Atwell. In a full PPR scoring format, I think the talent of Breece Hall probably has him in a safe enough spot to where you can start him. And I'm assuming if they get near the goal line at any, juncture, he'll get the overall touch. Let me see. In a full PPR, I do not have him ranked higher than Nico Collins, though. I mean, so at this point, if you want to play Breece Hall off of the hope that he can get, work done with 10, 11, 12 touches and get enough fantasy, utilization within a full PPR in comparison to a receiver like Nico Collins, you can, but otherwise I'll go with Collins there. Thank you. All right, let me see if Chris ended up sending in a message. Chris? No, nothing. I still see nothing in the chat, unfortunately, Chris. I'm going to assume that you're just AFK maybe, perhaps? Chris Rossman? Anywhere? No? Okay. Keep it moving. Where's the next question? Jake Pollard, thank you very much. Says in a full PPR, Puka Nacua or Josh Kelly. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. Where do I have Kelly in comparison? We have Josh Kelly. Let's look at the flex. Josh Kelly's there. Puka Nacua is lower than him in the overall ranking. Thank you. So it would be Josh Kelly's the play. Appreciate it. Moving on. We had Scare Shiesty says, good morning, Andrew. Quick question. Starter sit. Standard scoring league. DJ Moore or Mike Williams. Okay. Follow up. Okay. So that is the first and foremost question. I'll take DJ Moore out of the two. And then follow up. You had a question. Okay. That's it. You're saying you're leaning towards Mike Williams. Yeah, look, I think they're both going to have great weeks. Let's just put it that way. Because of the matchups on hand, I'm assuming Mike Williams, there's going to have to be a lot of throwing in that game against Tennessee, to say the very least. But ultimately, I do trust DJ Moore a little bit more in the given week. Thank you. Tej guy in the chat was asking Browns defense or Colts. We mentioned a little bit earlier, but I'll take the Browns there. Thank you. R. Ramirez says, I need two in a full PPR. We need Rachaad White, Algier, Kelly, and Zach Moss. Out of those four options, I'll take Algier and Kelly this week. Thank you. Phil says, follow-up, final question. We have full PPR. Pick two running backs, two wide receivers in a flex out of the potential running backs and wide receivers that are available. We have the following: Jacobs, Gibbs, Pollard, Chase, St. Brown, Williams, Pittman, Puka Nacua. Okay, so of the available, Jacobs and Pollard are your 1 and 2 running backs. Chase and St. Brown are your 1 and 2 wide receivers, and your flex would go to playing Jahmyr Gibbs. Thank you. Appreciate it. Old Muffin follows up with another question. Where the heck did Old Muffin go? Old Muffin says, I have Andrews and Lawrence. I get Andrews and Lawrence. He gets Allen. So you're trading Josh Allen for Mark Andrews and Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, I'll take that. Give me Andrews and Lawrence rest of the season. Thank you. Ibrahim Osman. Let's see here. Ibrahim. Let's see. Chris, nothing. Okay, so Osman. Ibrahim, there was no message attached and nothing that where the heck did you have a question maybe in the chat? I don't see anything, Ibrahim. If you could do me a favor, Ibrahim, type in the chat what your question was. It wasn't attached to your super chat though. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Stephen Drake says, hey, Andrew, Mostert, Montgomery, or Kelly. I'll take Montgomery out of those three in a half PPR. Also, Elijah Moore, a good play due to Cooper injury. Yeah, he would be. He would be the next man up to at least take a volume of targets and be able to run away with it. All right, let's see here. After Stephen Drake's question, again, thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. Luis Alcantar, thank you very much, says defense, Bucks. Okay, Colts, Bucks, Denver, Washington. Okay, let's just go over defense again because I did see someone else in the chat say, hey, what are we doing for defenses? I'm going to go ahead really quickly and try to answer Mr. Ibrahim's question. Hey, I made a mistake. Okay, just type your question. You're fine. Type it in the chat, and I'll be able to answer it right now. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and just rattle off top 12 defense real quick. Dallas, number 1. San Francisco, number 2. New Orleans, 3. Cleveland, 4. Denver, 5. Buffalo, 6. Tampa Bay, 7. New York Giants, 8. Green Bay, 9. Indianapolis, 10. Atlanta, 11. And New York Jets, 12. Thank you. Let's see here. Where art thou, Mr. Osman? Waiting for that question to roll through. Until then, we will move on to another question from Unknown KG. Unknown KG says, in a 10-team half PPR scoring format, we have 3 wide receivers and 2 flex in this league. I start 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. Okay. Start 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. Okay, understood. So we have Gabe Davis, Cortland Sutton, Samaje Perine, Khalil Herbert, Josh Reynolds. Hoping to beat a few of the under. Okay, so of the available options that you have here, in a half PPR scoring format, I'm leaning towards playing Samaje Perine as one of those flex options. I'm also leaning towards playing Khalil Herbert as one of those flex options, and then the wide receiver will be Cortland Sutton there. Thank you, appreciate it. Let's see here, Osman, where you at, man? I'll send a full PPR. Choose two out of these three. Okay. You don't have to. Yeah. Okay. You don't have to send anything in terms of super chat. You already did. So just type in the chat and you're good. Michael Thomas, Mike Williams, or Puka Nacua. Choose two out of three. I'll take Williams and Puka. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Stewie 7272 says, I'm one of the first 1,000 subs. Love the stuff. Full PPR. Start 2, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tannehill, or Howell. In my current quarterback rankings, I have Sam Howell ranked the lowest of those three. I have Jimmy Garoppolo and Ryan Tannehill ranked ahead of him this week. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We move on. We had a question that came in from... Where art thou? Okay, so we took care of unknown. Chris North, thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. It says, hey, Andrew, Algier or Puka Nacua in a full PPR? I'm already starting Bijan Robinson. Let me see where I have Algier ranked accordingly. Algier. All right, so Tyler Algier in the flex position, full PPR. I have him there. Puka Nacua I have ahead of him. I understand you have Bijan Robinson. I guess you could play them both just to scoop up all the potential value that the backfield has to provide. I don't mind that idea ultimately because it's just like vacuuming the entire backfield and it's going to be a good game. So you don't want to really miss out on anything there. I do think ultimately though, Puka in a full PPR, it lends pretty well to his overall upside because of how much, overall receptions he gets. If Algier doesn't find the end zone like he did last week, it's going to be tough to trust that, he's able to outscore Puka at the current moment. Thank you. Let's see here. We move on. We had Randy. Randy sends in a question. Where you are, Randy? Randy, there was nothing attached to your super chat. Type in the chat whatever your question was. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Alan Cromer says, in a full PPR, Puka, Kelly, D-Hop. I'll take Puka. Thank you. Cyanide says, hey, Andrew. Hope you are well. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hope you are as well. 0.75 per reception. I need one wide receiver and one flex. We have Pacheco. We have DJ Moore. We have Lockett. We have Puka. Okay, so of the availables, in a 0.75 per reception league, I would end up playing both. That's, do I want to? Yeah, I probably would. I'm playing DJ Moore and Tyler Lockett there. I'd sit Puka Nacua in the given week. Also, rest of the season, stash Moss, Roshan Johnson, Bigsby, Ford, or Tank Dell. Out of those available options as a rest of season stash, I'd rather have Roshan Johnson on the team. Thank you. Let's see. Did Randy end up typing in the chat anytime soon? Nope, no Randy. Okay. Moving on. We had Crazy Legs 225 says Puka, James Conner, assuming they are both healthy, which again, I'm going to assume that they are as well. Especially Connor, because he did get a full practice in. I know that Puka was limited on Friday, so that is a little bit concerning. He was dealing with that oblique injury on Thursday. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's see here. If I take this to my full PPR rankings, if it's between those two between Connor and Puka, yeah, I'll take the receiver there. Thank you. Puka Nacua. He's pretty much starting just about everywhere. Not everywhere, but in majority of situations. Someone in the chat was asking, are the rankings PPR? They're currently half PPR. Just meeting everyone in the middle, like I do with the weekly content. Whether it's standard, full PPR, we just kind of meet in the middle with a half PPR ranking and 4-point per passing touchdown format. A reminder, again, those rankings that are currently on screen to the right of me, they are updated as of this morning. So if you have a question as to where I would play, interpositional question, like, hey, am I playing Algier or Josh Kelly? The rankings on screen hopefully should be able to deliver that answer to you. There's about 1,200 of you in here. Welcome. Good morning. We'll be here for the next 2 hours and 20 minutes answering questions prior to the kickoff of week 2. If you guys have not yet already, do me a favor, support the channel by clicking the like button. That's all I ask for you from today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We had a question that came in. Let me actually check. Did Randy end up sending anything in? Randy Figueroa, thank you. I did write something. I'll repeat. Well, in the question that you sent in earlier, there wasn't anything attached to it. The one that was sent in at 7:25. But nonetheless, let's answer your question that's in the chat. I'll repeat full PPR. I need to start Garrett Wilson, Zach Moss, Isaiah Pacheco, Roshan Johnson, Sky Moore. Thanks. Okay, so of those available in a full PPR scoring format, I will play. I'll take Garrett Wilson and I'll take Isaiah Pacheco there in a full PPR. There shouldn't be CEH available today. I think he is dealing with a sickness, or he's sick, or he missed practice for some reason. So he may end up missing today. With that being the case, yeah, we'll take Isaiah Pacheco and Garrett Wilson in the full PPR. Thank you. Embry Outdoors says, in a 12-team, 1-quarterback, full PPR league, I need 2 flex options. Do I trade Deshaun Watson, Gibbs, and Dotson for Josh Allen and Pierce? ETN is my RB1, and Dotson is on my bench behind Puka Nacua. So at this point, if you were going to make a move, trade those 3 to get those 2. I'm okay with the trade. Do I think it needs to happen? No, but I think the improvement in quarterback will be significant enough to where it'll keep your team safer in the long run. So I don't mind the trade. If it's me, I probably end up doing it. Thank you. All right. C-Man says, full PPR. Pick 2 between Dylan, Tony, Kirk, Herbert, and Cooper. I'll play Dylan first and foremost. If there's a secondary option to that, and I'm assuming Cooper's going to be limited or may not have a full workload on Monday, I'll play Kirk second. So it'll be AJ Dillon, Christian Kirk there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hunter sends in a question. Says, half PPR, pick 2 flex options. We have Sanders, Williams, Puka. Okay, so of those 3, we're picking 2 options. I would go with Javonte Williams, and I would go with Puka Nacua. Well, actually, it's a half PPR, so I might even take Sanders over him. Let me check where I have Sanders in my half PPR ranks. Sanders is there. Yes, so I would play both the running backs. So it would be Sanders and Javonte Williams this week. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from CB, says full PPR, Elijah Moore, Breece Hall, Samaje Perine. Considering the full PPR format and the expectation that there's going to be less upside and or may even have a completely missing Amari Cooper on Monday, I would lean towards playing Elijah Moore there. Daryl Bottoms, hope you're doing well, says Algier or Mike Williams flex full PPR. Great question. Let's see where I have them accordingly. I'm going to assume that I have Mike Williams ahead of him, but I will check just in case. Mike Williams at 44, Tyler Algier at 48. They're close, but I'll take the receiver in the full PPR. Thank you. Let's see here. 11 D Villa says, hey Andrew, back for another year. I need 1 flex in a full PPR. Do I start Najee Harris, Zay Jones, Michael Thomas, Zach Moss? Thank you very much. Out of the group that you mentioned, I'll take Michael Thomas there. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. Again, for those of you who are joining us, do not forget the rankings on screen are as of this morning, up to date, half PPR, 4-point per passing touchdown. Cracker in the chat was saying Dion Lewis or Peyton Barber. Great question. Actual good question. I would never trust Peyton Barber. Back in the day, Peyton Barber did nothing. Whether it was he had 1 good game for the Raiders. I don't know if you guys remember that monster game. I think he had like 25 fantasy points for no reason 1 week. But anyway, that's regardless of the point. Moving on. Crystal Richardson, thank you very much. As in a flex, okay, so let's see. In half PPR scoring format, flex for all of these guys, we have Dylan, Edwards, and we have Collins and Watson. Okay, so of those available, all 100% flex, AJ Dillon. Follow up to your question. Additionally, full PPR, James Cook, Godwin, Lockett, Collins, Mostert. Okay, so if we're flexing one of those options, let me check. Is James Cook? I'm assuming he will be. Let me just confirm. Where's James Cook? James Cook is there. Yeah, he would be ranked higher than the rest of those options. So James Cook would be the play in the full PPR there, Crystal. And then if Hopkins is out, I'm playing Gabriel Davis. I have Allen. Or do I play Lazard, P. Ryan, London, etc.? Okay, so so Hopkins is not going to be out. He's already going to be confirmed to be playing this week. So I would play him there, and you have no worries. You're good to go. Thank you. R. Ramirez says, love the show. I need 2 between the following and a full PPR. Kelly, Algier, Moss, Rashad White. Kelly and Algier are my suggestions. Thank you. iShine101 says, sup, Drew. 10-team full PPR league. Okay. Pick 2 so we need pick 2, 1 wide receiver 2, and 1 flex. Okay. We need Jahan Dotson, Zach Moss, Sutton, Michael Thomas. Okay. So of those available, iShine, again, welcome. Thank you. I would roll with playing Michael Thomas as that wide receiver 2 and Zach Moss in the flex. Phil in the chat was saying Trevor Lawrence or Lamar Jackson for today, Phil. Again, rankings on screen. I currently have Trevor Lawrence at 4 and I have Lamar Jackson at number 6. So Trevor Lawrence is the play there. Thank you. Reinhardt in the chat was asking, what do you think about Allen Robinson this week? Where do I have him ranked? In a half PPR scoring format, where do I have Allen Robinson ranked? Allen Robinson, I mean, look, listen, I have a history with Allen Robinson. I have him, I mean, I'll say it with my chest. I have him ranked 59. Okay? 59. I don't really like Allen Robinson too much today. I'll just put it that way. I don't love it. I could find, 58 other wide receivers today that I feel more comfortable playing. Thank you. Let's see here. What do we have? We had a question from Nate. He says, Khalil Herbert or Nico Collins in a half PPR. Considering the matchup against Tampa Bay, and I don't entirely love it, I would typically lean towards Nico Collins, but considering it is a half PPR format, let's see here. Where do we have Herbert in the flex? Flex Herbert is 74. Nico Collins is already 68. So yeah, Nico Collins even in a half PPR is a suggestion. Thank you. AO Royale says in a full PPR, I need 2 out of the 3 in the flex. Rashad White, Kelly, Algier. I'll take Kelly and Algier this week. Thank you. Jack R says in a full PPR, start 1 RB, 1 flex. We have James Conner, Joshua Kelly, Miles Sanders, Godwin, Puka Nacua. Of those available options, ooh, that's a good one. Let's see here. Where is Godwin in comparison to Kelly and who's the other option there? Miles Sanders and James Conner. So let's see here. Godwin. Chris Godwin's, in a full PPR, of course, he's going to be higher off than these other guys. So if it's between those players, the suggestion for this week would be Kelly and Godwin. Jack R. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Again, for those of you guys who have sent in super chat questions, I'm trying to catch up to the best of my ability. If you haven't heard your question answered, it's probably because I haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, thank you. We had Jack R. We move on to Jacko. Jacko says, hey, Andrew, last year I won. Thank you. No problem. Glad to help in any way that I possibly can. In the flex, do I play Kelly, Nacua, Moss, Pickens, McLaurin, or Kyron Williams in a full PPR scoring format? So of those available, if we're just playing one option in a full PPR scoring format, it's probably Puka Nacua in a full PPR. Thank you. Moving on. We have K Gonzaga 2014 says Miles Sanders, Roshan Johnson, Antonio Gibson. I'll take Miles Sanders number 1, Roshan 2, and Antonio Gibson 3. So Miles Sanders will be the play this week. Thank you. Kevin says White, Pierce, Lockett, full PPR flex. Out of those 3 options, I will most likely play Lockett. Thank you. We move on to a question from Caleb Rios. Thank you very much. Full PPR, Najee Harris or Mike Williams. I'll take Mike Williams. Thank you. Rockout says full PPR, McLaurin, Javonte Williams, JSN, Dobbs with if Watson is out. I'm assuming Watson will be out. Nonetheless, in regards to your question, flex full PPR, I'll take Javonte Williams there. Thank you. Thomas Fenner says trade Flowers and Garrett Wilson for Aaron Jones. Thoughts? If I'm going to trade away 2 wide receivers of that caliber, I better be getting back AJ Brown, to be honest. I don't really want to bring back an injured player that is older in age and also is dealing with a hamstring injury right now. So I wouldn't do that. Thank you. Let's see here. Paris Lark says, I have Diggs. I need a wide receiver 2. Gabe Davis, Kendrick Bourne, or Drake London. Of those 3, I have Kendrick Bourne ranked the highest. Gabe Davis would be second highest, and London would be last. Thank you. Aaron Bryson. Aaron, there was another Aaron in the chat. Anyway, Aaron in the chat was saying, who do I start? Half PPR, Puka, Algier, or T-Hop? Let's see who I have highest ranked in a half PPR. Where's Puka Nacua in comparison to Algier? Algier's higher than him. Algier's actually higher than the bunch in a half PPR. Thank you. So where do I have Aaron Bryson? Bryson, where are you at? Aaron Bryson, if you could do me a solid, type in the chat what your question was. It wasn't attached to your super earlier. Thank you. Paris Lark says half PPR, Mike Williams or Tyler Algier. It would be Algier. Thank you. Freddie says, we got to lock in our flex this week. We got Zach Moss, Brian Robinson, Puka Nacua. Who we playing? Assuming it's half or full PPR, I'll take Puka Nacua out of the bunch there. Thank you. Let's see here. Rubik's Cube Solve says, hey, Andrew, half PPR, Odell Beckham Jr., Juju Smith, Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett, pick 2. Tyler Lockett and Juju Smith-Schuster would be my suggestions there. Thank you. Let's see here. Moving on. I'm looking for Aaron Bryson. We had a question from, where are we at? Trevor John. Okay, because we took care of Paris. We said Algier. We took care of Freddie. We're good with that. So Trevor John says, trade Breece Hall for Jahmyr Gibbs. 4.5 per touchdown. Yeah, I would rather have Jahmyr Gibbs rest of the season. Thank you. So yeah, if you can get away with that trade, you should. Tyler Martin says, I have ETN and Ridley locked in, full PPR. My wide receiver 3 is Zay Jones or Sky Moore. I have Mahomes. I would play Zay Jones there. Thank you. Tyler Martin says, with the following question, okay, so that was Tyler Martin's question. Apologies. Moving on. Playboy Cardi says, start 2, Javonte Williams, Najee Harris, Damian Pierce. I'll play Javonte Williams and Damian Pierce this week. Thank you. Jared sends in a question, says, Terry McLaurin, Zay Flowers, Drake London, Kendrick Bourne, start 2, drop 1. Well, the issue is you have 4 players named, so it maybe start 3, drop 1. If that's the case, it would be to start McLaurin, Flowers in London. If I'm dropping somebody, I'm dropping Kendrick Bourne. I think London has more potential than him for the rest of the season. Thank you. What the heck is that? There's like a loud ringing. Give me a second. Some odd noises coming from the house. Oh, it's the neighbor trying to back out of the driveway. I'm about to say, I was like, what the heck is that? All right, moving on. We had a question that came in from Aaron. Is there anything? I only see the other Aaron. I don't see Aaron Bryson. He's probably gone. All right, well, maybe he comes back. Either way, keep it moving. We had a question coming from James Hammer. Thank you very much. James says, in an 18 PPR league, we have Aaron Jones out. And my only current option is Brian Robinson. Okay, cool. Zach Moss, Mostert, Akers, Gus Edwards available on the waivers. Of those available, again, I would probably prefer to play Mostert above him. But if you'd have to drop Brian Robinson to play Mostert, I would just keep Brian Robinson. He's a better player in the long run, ultimately. So I don't think that the rankings are too far apart to where I'm, completely pivoting out of that direction. Thank you. All right, a reminder for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful Sunday morning for week 2. I'll be answering questions for the next 2 hours and 6 minutes. So hopefully, whether it's directly answering your question or by proxy answering someone else's, which will then evidently answer yours. A couple reminders, if you guys haven't yet already, check out the screen. The screen has updated rankings as of this morning in a half PPR for all 4 primary positions. Additionally, I will once again re-mention my top 12 defenses and kickers at the top of the hour, and we'll continue to do that like every 30 minutes intervals just so that we're all on the same page. Outside of that, we're good to go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Click the like button if you have not yet already. Try to get us above 1,000 likes. That'd be greatly appreciated. Considering there's 1,000 of you in here, I think that should be pretty easy, light work for us to get that accomplished. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Xavier W says, Broncos or Buccaneers defense. Why do I have the Broncos defense at 5 compared to the Bucs at 7? The Broncos defense is at 5 because I don't really think that the Washington Commanders are a great offense ultimately. I think Sam Howell, when I watched that game back this week, did not play very well. And I think that against a better secondary, in a game in which their running game will be stopped and it'll be forced for Sam Howell to beat them with their arm, it's not going to bode as well as it did last week against Arizona, which, quite frankly, they barely squeaked out of that game with a victory. I think the Broncos should be a tough matchup for Sam Howell in general and his current inexperience. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question from the Lex. The Lex says James Cook or AJ Dillon flexes my RB2. I play AJ Dillon there. Thank you. Moving on, we have Gabe. Gabe G says Pittman or Kelly flex full PPR. Let me go ahead and let's see. Let's pull up full PPR. We have Pittman. Where is Pittman in conjunction with Kelly? Yeah, it's Kelly. Kelly's my suggestion there. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from Joe Barcelo. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. Juju, DJ Moore, Dobbs as my last pick in the flex spot. I'd play DJ Moore there. Thank you. Brendan D says, hey, Andrew, in a 14-team full PPR, flex Zay Jones or George Pickens this week. I see that they're ranked 30 and 31. But any clear advantage either way? Thank you. Yeah, I'd rather play Zay Jones over him. The primary issue that I have with George Pickens, or all the receiving options of Pittsburgh, is that I do not trust Kenny Pickett as much as I purely trust Trevor Lawrence. And as long as Zay Jones is going to be number 2 in terms of snap counts, routes run, and all that kind of jazz in a matchup which should be higher scoring, I'm expecting at least Zay Jones to be a better producer. C-Man each. I think I answered your question earlier. No, I don't think. I know I answered your question earlier. The response to that was to play A.J. Dillon and Christian Kirk this week. Thank you. Aaron Bryson come out of nowhere? No? All right. I'm just going to shuffle that into the back, and we're done with that. We're moving on. We had a question that came in from Jonathan McMaster. Hope you're doing well, Jonathan. Thank you. Says, I know it's gross. Guillotine League. Okay. Can't get last in points this week. Who am I playing? Jake Funk or Sean Tucker? I don't even know if Jake Funk's going to touch the ball today. So I would go with Sean Tucker in the matchup against Chicago. Thank you. Mark Fui, maybe. Fui, yeah, maybe. Full PPR, start 2, Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Jamal Williams, Josh Kelly. Out of those options, I'll take Williams and Kelly. Thank you. DD says, help me pick 2 flex options, half PPR, Jamal Williams, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, AJ Dillon, Jerry Jeudy, Jahan Dotson. Out of those options, if I'm flexing 2 of them, I'm flexing AJ Dillon alongside of, in a half PPR, it would be Mike Evans. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mike Evans, AJ Dillon. The Nova says Puka Nacua or Miles Sanders half PPR. Miles Sanders. Thank you. What is that name? What the heck? There's so many L's and I's. I can't even tell. Is it Seaflyer? Seaflyer? I think that's what it is. Seaflyer says DeAndre Hopkins or David Montgomery half PPR. I'll take David Montgomery. Thank you. The Dazed Fool says full PPR. Zay Flowers or what does it say? Double flex. Zay Flowers, D-Hop, Kelly. Okay, of those 3 options, I'll take Flowers and Kelly. Thank you. Michael Oliveras says Dobbs or Miles Sanders full PPR. I'm probably leaning towards Miles Sanders there. Thank you. Dylan Robbins says 12-man full PPR, Javonte Williams or Chris Godwin. That's a great question. That one's going to be close, I think. Godwin is 35 and Javonte's 43. Yeah, we'll go with Godwin there. Thank you. Holy Saint says, hey, Andrew, flex Edwards or Elijah Moore. I will take Elijah Moore there. Again, the reason why I have both of the running backs on screen for the Baltimore Ravens ranked relatively low in comparison to where we may have had Dobbins if he was the lone back primarily has to do with the fact that the starting center and left tackle of the Baltimore Ravens is out today. On top of it, their left guard did not practice on Friday. There's a potential in which he could miss. So if you're missing 3 starting offensive linemen against Cincinnati's run-stop defense, I'm leaning towards the idea that we may see some struggles from Gus Edwards, Justice Hill accordingly, and that's why I have them ranked as such. Thank you. So to answer your question again, I'm going Elijah Moore there in a full PPR. Let's see here. DIYWD says, full PPR, pick 1 for the flex. Mostert, DJ Moore, McLaurin, Bourne, Atwell. Mostert, DJ Moore. Okay, if I'm picking one out of the entire group, it's DJ Moore. Thank you. Paul says, I need 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, and 1 flex. Puka, what is that? Jahan Dotson, DJ Moore. No, that's not even DJ. Okay. Hold on, wait. There is an Puka. Yeah, for some reason there's a D. Okay, so that just messed me up. So it's Puka Nacua, Jahan Dotson, James Conner, Mostert, and Breece Hall. Okay, interesting. Full PPR. Also, okay, so let's answer this first and foremost. If I'm playing 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 flex out of this group, Puka Nacua is the wide receiver that you play. The running back you play is James Conner. The flex that you play is Mostert. Now, if we follow up for, also, should I keep the Bills defense or pick up the Eagles for the rest of season It depends on their upcoming schedule. I think the Bills have really good matchups in the next 2 weeks. Let me check. I think they play against Washington and another lesser team. Yeah, they play against the Washington Commanders next week. I would probably try to keep the Bills on roster for now. Thank you. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Paul. Paul, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Paul says, one wide receiver, one running back. Okay, so we took care of Paul's question. Never mind. That was Paul. Perfect. Good to go. Then we had Poseidon's Will. He says, half PPR. Also get points for punt and kickoff return yardage. Rashid Shaheed or Puka Nacua in the slot. I don't even know how much return yardage Shaheed even. Let's see here. You're going to make me do some research, huh? How much return yardage does Rashid Shaheed even witness in a given game? Let's see here. 2023 stat line. Kickoff return. He had 110 yards last week. Yo, you have to play Rashid Shaheed then. What the heck is that? He had 5 kickoff returns and 2 punt returns. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's already a done deal. Like, you just kind of have to play Rashid Shaheed there. The format kind of lends to him being the more valuable prospect or having the highest upside. And of course, Tim H says, love the intel. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Tim. Thank you. We had a question coming from Dior Kev. Says, need 2 in a full PPR scoring format. Okay. Of the available, what do we have here? Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Tyler Algier, Javonte Williams, Hunter Henry. Also, should I drop Josh Reynolds for Tajay Sharp? I have Henry. Yes, you should drop Josh Reynolds for Tajay Sharp because you won't need Josh Reynolds. You might as well just ensure that you have the handcuff just in case anything is to happen. You have the insurance policy. But if you need 2 players out of the group that you mentioned, let's see, where do I have them accordingly ranked in a full PPR? So we have Algier there, but where is DJ Moore and Mike Williams? That's kind of what I'm curious about. So we have Moore ahead of him, right? Let's see here. And then where do we have Mike Williams? We have him ahead of him as well. And then where do we have Javonte Williams? Okay, so of the available that you mentioned, okay, Dior Kev, it would be DJ Moore and Javonte Williams this week. Thank you. Kevin Smith says, in a full PPR, David Montgomery, Tutu Atwell, or Darren Waller? I need 2. Out of those 3 options, I'll take Waller and Montgomery. Thank you. Justin sends in a question. Says, in a full PPR, Puka Nacua or Zay Jones is my wide receiver 2. I'll take Puka Nacua there. Thoughts on Montgomery over Pierce? Yeah, I'll 100% play David Montgomery over Dameon Pierce this week. Thank you. Alrighty, where are we at now? We move on to Trace. Is that Trace? Yeah, Trace. Trace says, hey, Andrew, love the channel. Thank you very much, Trace. Appreciate it. I need someone to replace Amari Cooper. Half PPR, Puka Nacua, Zay Jones, Jahan Dotson. I'll take Puka there. Follow up, Pacheco in the flex. Would you start any of them? Would you put any of those players there instead of Pacheco or put P. Ryan there? No, I'd keep Pacheco there and I play Puka Nacua as your number 2 or whatever that fill-in wide receiver is, whether it is your wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. Thank you. We had a question that came in from Bay Raven, but there wasn't anything attached to it. Bay Raven, where is it? Let's see here. There's nothing in the chat from Bay Raven. If you could do me a favor, type, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Let's see here. Cody Johnson in the chat was saying Michael Thomas or Algier. I have Bijan. At that point, I'll just play Algier. Thank you. Puka or Garrett Wilson. Swiss Gin. I'd play Puka there. We move on to Black Lagoon 2005. Says standard league Rashad White or Jerry Jeudy in the flex. I will, in a standard scoring format, I don't have standard ranking, so I'm just going to shoot off the hip here. I would venture to say that the better play between the two is most likely Jerry Jeudy. Thank you. Justin says, the Muth or Hunter Henry at tight end full PPR? I'll take the Muth. Thank you. Stephen Bowman says, hey, Andrew, flex question. Gabe Davis, Roshan Johnson, Elijah Moore, bench 1, full PPR, half point per carry. I'd play Roshan Johnson and I'd play Elijah Moore. I'd bench Gabe Davis this week. Thank you. Giggity Goo 52 says, full PPR, Jahan Dotson or Javonte Williams? I'll take Javonte Williams there. Thank you. Ryan Kennedy says, Javonte, Kelly, Lockett, pick 2 full PPR. In a full PPR format, where do I have them ranked? I'm fairly certain it's going to be Lockett and Kelly. Yeah, that's who I have ranked higher. Thank you. Where are we? Let's see. Did Bay Raven type anything in the chat? Anything new from Bay Raven? Where are you at, man? No, nothing. Okay. Moving on. We had a question from Jose Simon. Thank you very much, Jose. Appreciate it. Roshan Johnson or Khalil Herbert? I would play Khalil Herbert in a half PPR. I'd play Roshan Johnson in the full PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it. Zachary sends in a question. Zach says the following. Full PPR, I need one running back, one wide receiver, and one flex. I have Kelly, Najee, Gibbs, Nakua, Lockett. Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon are on the waivers. Add and start either of those. Yeah, I would. I'd pick up A.J. Dillon and immediately start him as your RB1. I would then play, of the available players that you have, Lockett as your wide receiver 1. And then considering it's a full PPR, I'd play Gibbs as your flex. So it would be Dillon, Gibbs, Lockett. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Zach. Jordy Peasy says pick 3, half PPR, K9, Dillon, Monty, Sanders. AJ Dillon number 1, Montgomery number 2, K9 number 3. Thank you. Xavier W says I have the Jets defense, no space. Do I drop Rashi for Denver's defense? Rashi Rice? I would. I mean, at this point, again, the Jets defense isn't like, oh, I'm scared of playing them. They're going to be able to score points. They're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to cause turnovers. That's a given, right? They're too talented of a bunch not to do so. So they're going to score points. But yeah, if you want the safer option, I guess you could drop Rashi Rice because he's never going to play for you ultimately unless the guy completely, sees a complete there would need to be a complete shift of the offense and what Andy Reid wants to do every single week in order to validate starting any singular wide receiver for the Chiefs going forward. They would need a legitimate overhaul to how they approach their offense. Chris Sider sends in a question, says, can you explain Algier over Pierce and Harris? Yeah, so the issue that I have with Najee Harris primarily, and the reason why I have him lower ranked, is because he doesn't play till tomorrow, and based on the practice reports, there's a very high potential both of his starting offensive guards are missing. And if that's going to be the case against that run-stopping defense in Cleveland, that doesn't really bode well for him. On top of the fact that it may be a negative game script in which we'll see far more Jaylen Warren, I'm not as confident about Najee Harris accordingly. Now, as for Dameon Pierce, the issue that I had with Dameon Pierce last week, we saw way too much Devin Singletary, even in a negative game script, to where Devin Singletary wasn't, getting the receiving work, even though he is probably going to predominantly work there. He was getting rushing attempts that were definitely digging into the overall workload of Dameon Pierce. So unless they want to shift everything, and, I think last week's overall distribution of opportunity was like 12 rushing attempts to 7. Like if we're going to see Tyler Algier, while he's splitting snaps and touches, still, out carry Dameon Pierce when he's splitting snaps with his, significant, other running back in his backfield, I'm just far more inclined with the idea that, Algier will get the receiving work. He'll see the rushing upside. He is the goal line back of his own team. It's kind of hard for me not to take that on top of the matchup against Green Bay, which is an advantageous run stop, effect. Thank you. Hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, it's because, I'm scatterbrained trying to answer 1,000 questions. Apologies in advance if that didn't make any sort of sense, because now that I'm thinking about it, it probably didn't. Ultimately, what I'm just trying to say is that I expect Tyler Algier to probably have just as many carries. And when he does, he's in a more potent offense where we don't have any question as to whether or not Laramie Tunsil's missing. That could be 3 starting offensive linemen missing for the Houston Texans this week. That could be a pretty rough week, to say the very least. Let's see here. Matt Dunn says, do the Bills or Bengals lose today? The Bills do not lose today. The Bengals will not lose today. No, neither of those teams will lose today. Fabian Hernandez says Mike Williams or DJ Moore. I'll take DJ Moore there. Pittman Jr., Puka Nacua, or Amari Cooper. If it's the whole group of all those receivers, I like DJ Moore a lot. Outside of DJ Moore, the next best option will be Michael Pittman Jr. there in a full PPR. Thank you. We move on. We had a question from Nidge, yeah. Nidge, Nidge. Brandon Cooks or Jacoby Myers full PPR rest of season. That's an interesting one. Considering Jacoby Myers is only out with a concussion, my assumption prior to the season beginning was that Brandon Cooks would have more value, so I'll stick with that, assuming he gets back from his knee injury and it's not going to be a problem. Moving on. Mind Stimulated Dupree says, Romeo Dobbs, Tyler Lockett, flex full PPR. I'll take Tyler Lockett there. Thank you. Alejandro Barron in the chat was asking Drake London or Jerry Jeudy. We'll take Jerry Jeudy there. Vinny says, y'all are crazy to start Puka against San Francisco. Free tip. All right, Vinny. No problem. Hey, listen. Teach their own. That's all I got to say. Teach their own. What are you thinking about D-Hop? Dan's, the expectation is D-Hop's playing. There's a reason why I have him at 24 is because I expect him not to be as efficient as he typically is. Because, again, he's still dealing with a little bit of an injury there. Let's see here. Where are we? We're good there. Any new posts about anybody potentially missing time? I think we're good. Moving on. Metal Wings says 2, Amari Cooper, Nakua, James Cook, Brian Robinson, Beckham, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Of those available options, I'll take Nakua and James Cook. Thank you. We had a question from Carter Spawn. He says, Debo, Kelly, Javonte, PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. The flex is going to be Debo regardless. I'll take Kelly at running back there, though. Carlos Sanchez says 12-team half PPR. Moss is still on the waivers. Should I drop Charbonnet or Warren for Moss or stay pat? Again, who are you starting instead of Moss there, Carlos? Because if it's between Moss, Charbonnet, and Warren in your flex spot, and if it's not like a flex question in general, I'd probably just keep Charbonnet and Warren. But if it's a matter of, hey, I can pick him up and play him, then yeah, I would probably drop Charbonnet and roll with Warren and Moss going forward. True Gentleman says Kendrick Bourne, Khalil Herbert, Treylon Burks. Let's see here. So of those available options, Kendrick Bourne, Khalil Herbert, Treylon Burks. Assuming it's a half PPR scoring format, I'm fairly certain. Let me confirm. Where do we have Herbert in comparison to Kendrick Bourne? I have Khalil Herbert at 74 and Kendrick Bourne at 78. So I'll take Herbert there going into the week. Thank you. We move on. We had a question from GDubs38. Keep Charbonnet or Kieran Williams on roster? I'd rather keep Kieran Williams on roster. He's the starting running back of the Rams. Thank you. Josh Greason says full PPR, 2 flex spots, 8-man league, pick 3 players, Mike Williams, Josh Kelly, Jamal Williams, Gibbs, and Michael Pittman Jr. So of those available, I'll take Gibbs, Kelly, and Pittman. Thank you. Moving on, Paris Lark has a question, says the following. I need a wide receiver and a flex. Collins, Pickens, Henry. I'll take Collins and Pickens this week. Thank you. Kyle Strobel says choose 2 full PPR. Godwin, Javonte, Connor, Puka. I'll take Javonte Williams and Chris Godwin there, Kyle. Thank you. Ali says, this is Ali UFC, says Amari Cooper, Drake London, Michael Thomas, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Juju Smith, Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds. Oh my God, we have so many names. Luke Musgrave, Dalton Kincaid, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, full PPR. Okay, so Michael Thomas, Breece Hall. Who else is available? You have Amari Cooper, Dalvin Cook. So of the available options, it's probably Josh Reynolds, Michael Thomas, Dalvin Cook, Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't know if I can trust waiting for Amari Cooper as to whether or not he's even going to play tomorrow. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving down the list, trying to catch up as much as we possibly can. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. If you guys have not yet already, again, the rankings that are on screen to the right of me, as for your reference, are updated as of this morning. These are my half PPR rankings for top 36 running backs and wide receivers, top 8 quarterbacks and tight ends. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of an indication as to where we're going today. Also, if you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. Greatly appreciate that. Trying to catch up on a couple of these super chat questions. Let me just see if oh, okay, True Gentleman. I just saw that. Thank you. So you said Washington or Cleveland defense this week. Let's see. Where are we at in terms of Washington or Cleveland? So I have Cleveland defense really high. I don't even have Washington that high. So I would go with Cleveland this week. Thank you. Moving on. We had a question from, we took care of that. Ali, we took care of you as well. Actually, Ollie had one more question. He said, Justice Hill or Antonio Gibson on wait. Yeah, no, that's not even a question. So yeah, of those options, Michael Thomas, Brees Hall, Juju, Josh Reynolds. Thank you. Follow up, we had Mike the Jeans. He says full PPR, flex, starting Treylon Burks or Kendrick Bourne. I'll take Kendrick Bourne. Thank you. Dave Curtis says full PPR, Mike Thomas, Zach Moss or Puka Nacua. I'll take Puka there. Thank you. Luis Castillo says full PPR, Cooper likely missing. Yeah, that's expected. Should I flex? One of the following. We have Najee Harris, Zay Jones, Nico Collins in a full PPR, or wait and grab Elijah Moore and start him as a wide receiver. No, I wouldn't wait and pick up Elijah Moore. I'm expecting of the available options you have, if it's Najee Harris or Zay Jones in a full PPR, let's see, where do I have them ranked? Najee. I have literally, no joke, flex full PPR. Zay Jones 56, Najee Harris 57. So we'll go Zay Jones there this week. Thank you. Moving on from that question from Luis Castillo. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead. Let's see here. What do we have? We had Jordan Kaba says half PPR spot. Okay, flex spot. What are we doing here? We have Kieran Williams. We have, or Kyron Williams. I say Kieran, man. Kieran, I mean, I know someone named Kieran, and that's how they spell it. So for those of you who get pissed off at how I say it, you know, deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. Kyron Williams. Let's see here. Romeo Dobbs, Brian Robinson. Of those available options, if I'm playing just one of them, let's see here. Half PPR. Where do I have Dobbs in comparison to Robinson? I have Robinson ahead of Dobbs by 3 spots. So Brian Robinson's the suggestion. Thank you. John Koziar says full PPR. Which one do I flex? Dylan, Puka, or Shaheed? I would play Dylan. Return yards count in this league? Yikes. I would venture to, oh man. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how consistent Rashid Shaheed is going to be. I'm actually going to, let me do something real quick. Considering I looked it up earlier, let me just go pull this just for my reference. How much return yards did Shaheed see last season on a per week basis? There were some games where he had 0. Some games where he had 20, 28, 15, 30, 93, 40. There's a game where he had 89. There's a game where he had 63. I mean, oh man. Rashid Shaheed, I'd love to play him there, but I think Dylan is such a valuable play in that spot. I think I just go with him, John. But you know the format more than I do, so if Shaheed is just, technically the better option, then you can roll with him. But for now, it's kind of hard for me to pass on AJ Dillon in the given week. Thank you. All right, moving on. We had a question that came in from iShine101. Says half PPR, pick 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. We have Dotson, Sutton, Gallup. With Brandon Cooks not playing, and Mostert and Rashid Shaheed. Of those available options, the flex that I'm playing is Raheem Mostert, and the regular wide receiver that I'm playing out of the group as your half PPR play is Jahan Dotson. Thank you. Dylan sends in a question, 12 teams, full PPR. Desperation wide receiver 2 with Christian Watson and Deontay Johnson out. Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore, JSN. I'll take Michael Thomas there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Kyle Strobel says Josh Kelly versus Tennessee ranked high-ish, question mark. Tennessee's tough. No, I understand Tennessee's tough. The issue is, ultimately, without Austin Eckler, okay, let's just think about it this way, right? The volume of touches that Joshua Kelly is going to get, even regardless of the difficult matchup, okay? The volume of touches he's going to get is probably somewhere near 15 rushing attempts and probably somewhere near 4 to 5 receptions. I legitimately think that is what's baked in to that starting running back role. I mean, we saw how much the team ran the ball against Miami last week. What was it? Like 32 rushing attempts between the 2 running backs. Like, this team wants to run the ball. So regardless of whether or not it is Tennessee, I think the offensive line will do enough of a job to where he will be somewhat relevant. He may not be efficient with his carries, but he'll be relevant in terms of yardage. He'll be the goal line back and likely will score today, which is Kelly. And then he'll get any sort of sprinkle of receiving work that he's going to be able to, be contributed to. And honestly, I think that itself, like I was mentioning yesterday throughout the live stream, I'm assuming like the base floor of production for Kelly in like a half PPR base floor is like 12 points. I think he has the likelihood of getting, further past that to the 12 to maybe 16 range. And if he scores multiple touchdowns, then we're talking about a 20-point week. Thank you. But listen, when we're talking about matchups, I'm the guy that always says don't start your running backs against Tennessee. There's just a matter of the way that the Chargers use their running backs. It just makes it a more palatable experience to at least roll them out there in comparison. Let's see here. Jukester says, did you hear about George Pickens' hamstring injury? When did that take place? Actually, though, when did that take place? Let me go look up. Let's see here. Pittsburgh Steelers. George Pickens, limited practice on Saturday, hamstring. Oh, man. Why do we got to do this? Why do we got to do it late in the week, too? Damn, that is brutal. Moving on. Dante 40K says PPR. DJ Moore, Javonte Williams, Kelly Flex. DJ Moore, thank you. Drew Johnson says, full PPR, who do I sit? Kelly, Monty, Godwin, or Sanders? I would sit Sanders in a full PPR. Thank you. Lionel says, Tony, Reynolds, Marquise, Hollywood Brown, PPR. I'd play Josh Reynolds out of that group. Thank you. Anthony says, Zay Jones or Romeo Doubs, full PPR. Who has more upside? Who has more upside? I think Romeo Doubs has more upside. Yeah. Romeo Doubs has more upside. Thank you. Joshua Shully or Scully. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Apologies if I butchered that. The question is, flex half PPR, Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore, or D-Hop? I'll take D-Hop there. If you're worried about the injury, just play Michael Thomas. They're very close in my rankings, as you guys can see on screen. Yasin says 6 point per quarterback scoring touchdown league. Debo or Tua? Yasin, I'd play Tua there in a 6 point per passing touchdown league. Thank you. I mean, he just has way more upside. It's just kind of hard to pass up on the quarterback in a super flex in that format. Let's see here. Leo Bolana says pick 2 in a full PPR. Jamal Williams, Garrett Wilson, Kelly. I'll take both the running backs there. Thank you. Kenneth Williams says flex full PPR. Waller, Dotson, or Godwin. I need 2. I'll take Waller and Godwin. Thank you. Tanner Span says full PPR. Joshua Kelly or Michael Pittman Jr. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. I'm probably just rolling out with Kelly there. If you like Michael Pittman Jr., you're more than welcome. The volume of targets that he saw last week was incredible. The issue that I have with Michael Pittman Jr., which really, it's not much of an issue because I still think he's going to play well. You can see how highly I have him ranked. He does take on Steven Nelson. That is one of the better cornerbacks. Steven Nelson was great last year. He's already great this season. And it's going to make it a little bit tougher on Anthony Richardson / Michael Pittman today. Drop Rashi Rice to stash Tank Dell. Yeah, I like that. How confident are you with Zach Moss today? Look, here's the thing. I will not have ultimate confidence in any running back that is not named Jonathan Taylor out of that backfield this season. But in terms of, am I starting him in one of my fantasy leagues this season or, today? Yeah, one of my main leagues, I have Zach Moss starting in the flex. That's how injury ridden one of my teams are. That's what happens when there's no Christian Watson, Deontay Johnson, and your flex is pretty much kind of forfeit at that point. You just kind of have to pivot to playing guys like Zach Moss in a given week. Antonio says, where's Gabe Davis? Gabe Davis is on my bench this week. Why? Because he's boom or bust. He's either going to score 4 points or he's going to score 24 points. If you want to take the risk, by all means, understand what you're getting yourself into. It's like going to a roulette table and just letting it rip, You're putting it all on 17 and just, let it spin. I don't know. Like it's far too risky for my overall kind of situation, especially considering I think there are so much more consistent options that have just as much potential upside. Let's see here. Moving on. Why is Trevor Lawrence at 4? Because Justin Herbert, not Justin Herbert, because Jalen Hurts already played. Otherwise, he'd be at 5. Why is he at why is he in the top 5? This offense is going to throw a lot today against Kansas City. And when they do so, it should be a shootout More fantasy points to score, baby. Let's see here. We had Buddha Vendetta says, aloha. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Who at flex? Zay Jones, DJ Moore, Josh Kelly. Thanks for all the work and blessings. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Of the available full PPR, I have Kelly at 30. I have DJ Moore at 32. I'm rolling with the running back of the Los Angeles Chargers. Thank you very much. Why did Najee Harris drop 10 spots? His offensive guards, both of them, might miss tomorrow. That does not bode well for his overall upside potential, especially against the defensive line that, consists of Myles Garrett. What's the guy that they brought over from Minnesota, used to play for Green Bay, Zadarius Smith, and then they have one of the better run blocking kind of interior defensive lineman or run stopping interior defensive lineman. I forget his name. I think they brought him over from Minnesota as well. Let me go find it. Where is the Cleveland Browns roster? Cleveland Browns. Where is it? Let's see here. Where's the other guy? Yeah, Dalvin Tomlinson. He did come over from Minnesota. Those two guys, Darius Smith, Dalvin Tomlinson, and then Myles Garrett. If you don't have starting guards, if you have backup offensive guard, man, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be definitely in some trouble. Also, speaking of having a terrible offensive line, I'm still waiting on the report from the New England Patriots today, but it may not look good there either. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. All right. Moving on. We had a question from John Haas. He says, half PPR, flex Rachaad White or Michael Thomas. Let's check where I have them ranked. Rachaad White is at 52. Michael Thomas, 56. I'll take Rachaad White there. Thank you. Moving on to Lilish 4 says 12-man, half PPR, start 2, Najee Harris, DeAndre Hopkins, Gabe Davis, Tutu Atwell. If I'm starting 2 of those 4, I'll take Najee Harris and DeAndre Hopkins happily. Thank you very much, Lilish. Nice to see you. Sid Ramesh says, bench Madison for Swift moving forward. It'll depend on matchup, and it'll also depend on the utilization and health of Gainwell. We'll keep an eye on that as we go forward. But obviously, when you put a good running back behind an elite offensive line, you're going to find success, right? And that's exactly what we had on Thursday from DeAndre Swift. I'm so happy that they finally, came to their senses, and it had to take, Kenneth Gainwell missing the game for them to realize, oh, maybe we should run the ball with our best running back, huh? It's ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. AC1 says, help set my bench. We have to keep 6 half PPR. We have Gabe Davis, Nico Collins, Zay Jones, Drake London, Romeo Doubs, Kenneth Gainwell, Kieran Williams, Roshan Johnson, Zach Moss. We have to keep 6. Oh my God, I got to do the maintenance work for you, huh? All right, so of the available that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers, 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs. If I'm, oh my God, 9, we have to get rid of 3. Okay, let's do it this way. If we're getting rid of 3 and you can't put Kenneth Gainwell in your IR slot, the following guys would get dropped. I would drop Gabe Davis. I would also follow up by dropping Zach Moss because I'm expecting Jonathan Taylor to come back by week 5. And I would probably end up dropping Nico Collins. Thank you. Appreciate it. Worlds says James Cook or David Montgomery in a full PPR. James Cook is higher than David Montgomery in a full PPR. Rocky's Love says, do you trust Hopkins today or do I flex Kendrick Bourne? I would trust DeAndre Hopkins today. I'm going to assume that the reason why they didn't let him practice all week is because they knew he would play because he's a tough son of a gun. So I do trust him more than Kendrick Bourne in the given week. Thank you. Alfonso says, Kelly or Breece Hall is my RB2. I'll take Josh Kelly. Thank you. Omar G says, flex full PPR, Breece Hall or Dotson/Pirine. I'll take Breece Hall there. Thank you. DJ622 says, please help. Pick 2. Here we go. The classic DJ question. Mendenhall, Moreno, or Hightower? Listen, if it was... Man, those 3 running backs were great, but give me Mendenhall and Hightower, huh? Good old fantasy football history. Not Steve Rogers says, drop Akers for Roshan Johnson. Yeah, I would. I actually would. John Koziar says Calvin Austin, if Pickens is hurt, flex worthy. Honestly, yes. Then at that point, but he would have to miss. That's the thing, right? In order to get on the field, we're going to have to see less, I'm actually curious, what kind of 11 personnel tendencies do we see from, because usually in seasons past, Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator of Pittsburgh, they run a lot of 11 personnel. Let me see what week 1 looked like. 11 personnel, 82% of the time. That was the third highest amongst all teams. The highest team in terms of 11 personnel week 1, the Carolina Panthers, and then at 96%, and then the Bengals at 84%, Steelers at 82%. So in terms of 11 personnel, one a tight end, one wide receiver, there's going to be 3 wide receivers probably on the field unless they go 2 back sets, which they don't often do. Let me confirm that. Pittsburgh Steelers, 22 personnel, 2 running backs, or 21 personnel. There's 0%. So Calvin Austin will be on the field. Not a bad option. But again, if George Pickens misses and there's more of a target volume of opportunity, especially for short check down players besides Freiermuth, Calvin Austin, actually could be worth it. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from K Styles. He says, good morning. Good morning to you as well. My lineup is Mahomes, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Bijan Robinson, ETN, Waller, Kenneth Walker. Bench consists of Garrett Wilson, David Njoku, Gabe Davis, A.J. Dillon. Any changes? Yeah, I would play A.J. Dillon over Kenneth Walker today. That's the only change I'd make. Thank you very much. Good luck. Ollie UFC says Kincaid, Musgrave, or Komet in a full PPR at the tight end position. What is it again? It's Kincaid, Musgrave, and Komet. Of those options, I'd play in a full PPR scoring format. It's probably going to be Luke Musgrave. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, reminder. It's 8:33. I'm going to go over my top 12 kickers and defenses. For those of you who are with us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful Sunday for week 2 of the fantasy football season. Let's go over top 12 kickers and defenses. While I do that, if you guys could do me a solid while I kind of roll through those 24 names that we're going to go over, be sure to click the like button down below. Greatly appreciated. The rankings on screen are up to date as of this morning for a half PPR scoring format. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's talk about top 12. Yeah, let's start with kickers this time around instead of starting with defenses. Let's go with kickers. Number 1, Justin Tucker. Number 2, Tyler Bass. Number 3, Jake Moody. Number 4, Evan McPherson. Number 5, Harrison Butker. Number 6 is Blake Groupie. Number 7, we have Nick Folk. Number 8, we have Cameron Dicker. Number 9, Jason Sanders. Number 10, Younghoe Koo. Number 11, Brandon McManus. And number 12, it is Daniel Carlson. That will cover the top 12 kickers. Obviously, that is removing Jake Elliott from Thursday's game, which we obviously had in the top 5 capacity, and continues to deliver. That 60-yard field goal from Jake Elliott on Thursday was one of the best things I saw all of Thursday in general. Nonetheless, moving on, let's talk about top 12 defenses. Number 1, by no surprise, Dallas Cowboys, followed by San Francisco 49ers at number 2, New Orleans Saints at 3, Cleveland Browns at 4, Denver Broncos at 5, Buffalo Bills at 6, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7, New York Giants at 8, Green Bay Packers at 9, Indianapolis Colts at 10, Atlanta Falcons 11, and New York Jets at 12. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. Let's keep it moving. How you doing? We have a question from JT. He says, A.J. Dillon or Dameon Pierce as my RB2. I will take A.J. Dillon there. Aaron Jones is going to be out. David Bakhtiari inactive. I'm okay with that. The reason why I'll tell you why I'm okay with that is because David Bakhtiari, even though he's a great player, ultimately, the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers has rotational guys that they've moved into left tackle. I think they'll probably take Tom and they'll probably move him to the left tackle spot. And it'll be as if nothing even made a difference. I'm not moving A.J. Dillon down. I don't see David Bakhtiari as the run blocking type anyway. He's more of the left tackle, skinny, I was gonna say skinny overall stance. I don't know why his stance is so. I mean, the base is just so skinny, and his legs are so close together whenever he's trying to kick back. But anyway, I'm not too worried about David Bakhtiari being inactive. Don't worry about it, guys. Trust. The biggest inactive that everyone should be talking about is Cordero Patterson being inactive. Imagine that, huh? Imagine that. Isn't that beautiful? So Aaron Jones inactive. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is active, which, okay, that was kind of an expected outcome. But outside of that, Bakhtiari's out. Joey Bosa's in. Mark Andrews is up. CJ Stroud's going to play left tackle for the Texans. Laramie Tussel's out, like I was mentioning earlier. I was worried about 3 of their starting offensive linemen being out. That's why I had Dameon Pierce where I have him, and that came to fruition. I'm not worried about David Bakhtiari. Dillon by himself in that backfield has too much value to garner. So yeah, Cordero Patterson being an inactive is crazy though. That's how you know they love Algier, right? That's how you know they love him. Let's see here. Marcos says, Andrew, I'm wondering where you have Amari Cooper in your rankings. Marcos, at this current moment in time, I have him at 37. Primarily because the only reason you could ever justify potentially playing him is if you have a pivot option on Monday. So if you were going to, hey, Andrew, I'm looking to play Amari Cooper. I can wait, and maybe if he doesn't play, I can play Elijah Moore. If he doesn't, maybe I can roll with someone like Rashid Shaheed. Those are players that I like. Maybe even now that we're talking about Calvin Austin recently, that could be another pivot play. So you could end up rolling with him. It's just a matter of, do you have the available pivot? Seth in the chat was saying backup Packers left tackle played good last preseason, good in the preseason. I mean, who's in? I'm not even. Am I forgetting? There was a time last season where Bakhtiari missed a significant amount of games, and whoever filled in for him was great. I don't know if they got rid of that guy. I think they just moved him to right tackle. They'll just shift it again, and I think it'll be fine. I'm not too worried about that. All right, Jesse G says, start 2.5 PPR. DJ Moore, Nico Collins, Kendrick Bourne, Mike Williams. I'll take Mike Williams and DJ Moore there, Jesse. Thank you. Magna Spectre says, hey there. Could you please help me decide between Connor and Kelly in a full PPR? I also, am I insane for thinking of starting Jordan Love over Lamar? Yeah, I think that's kind of crazy. To be totally honest, I think it is. What is the other update? Yeah. So okay, so you know how I was saying that there's a chance that the Texans offensive line is going to be in shambles? So as of right now, the Texans starting offensive line, Laramie Tunsil out, Kenyon Green injured reserve, Juice Scruggs injured reserves, Titus Howard injured reserves, Shaq Mason's the only starter that is playing today. Otherwise, they have 4 backups playing for the offensive line. That's brutal, man. It's brutal to say the least. That's why I have the Indianapolis Colts defense ranked at 10, by the way. Keep it moving. In terms of your question, yes, I do think it's crazy to start Jordan Love over Lamar Jackson. If you've got an itchy feeling about it and you want to scratch your itch and play him, by all means go for it, but I would play Lamar there. As for Connor or Kelly, I'm rolling with Kelly there. I think Connor is a great play ultimately, as you can tell from my rankings on screen. Connor's going to play well. That's at least what I'm expecting against the Giants defense. But I think Kelly, the opportunity and the volume and the quality of the opportunities that he's given, specifically those goal line touches, that is the biggest difference. All right, let's see here. Now that we have that taken care of, where art thou? Let's go. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead. Let me catch up with a couple more questions. Lorenzo Herrera, thank you very much, Lorenzo. Says full PPR. Flex Puka Nacua, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Thomas, or Drake London. I would play Jerry Jeudy there. Thank you. Gucci Han, Louis Han. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Says, my guy, full PPR. Jameer Gibbs or over Dameon Pierce? Absolutely Jameer Gibbs. There's a reason why I told you all to trade for Jameer Gibbs this week, because I don't think you'll be able to after this week. I think it'll be over. I think the legend of Jameer Gibbs will have already begun after today's game. Let's see here. We had a question from Vic Texas 361. PPR, start 1 flex, and okay, let me just rank them in order, because you said start 1 flex and then there was another 1. I don't know if that was like 1 wide receiver. Either way, I'm going to just order them. So you have Jeudy, Hopkins, Godwin, and Javonte. Of those available in a full PPR, let me see where I have Godwin and Javonte accordingly so that I can... Javonte's there. Godwin's there. Okay, so this is the way I would rank it. I would go Jeudy, Godwin, Javonte, Hopkins in that order. Thank you. Lucky Slevin says full PPR. Montgomery or Dillon in the flex? In a full PPR, I'll take Dillon. He will certainly have receiving upside comparatively. If Cooper is out, Kirk, Bourne, Atwell, or Rashid Shaheed. The issue with your situation is that, well, I don't know if it's an issue per se. You can either play Christian Kirk today or wait till tomorrow. If Amari Cooper plays, you roll with him. Otherwise, you would just play Rashid Shaheed before that game even takes place, as the Saints take on the Carolina Panthers on Monday night, prior to the Cleveland Browns-Pittsburgh game. So, It's a matter of your preference. If it's my suggestion at the moment, I would say let's not even deal with the risk. I'm going to play Christian Kirk there. Start one defense, Tampa Bay or Indy. I have Tampa Bay ranked higher. Thank you. Daniel K says the following. Where art thou, Daniel K? Okay, so I see your super chat, but I don't see a question. There you go. Daniel K says full PPR, Ayuk or Kelly in the flex. If it's a full PPR, I play Ayuk there. Already have Lamb and Ridley at my wide receivers, Bijan and Montgomery as my running backs. Maybe move Montgomery. In a full PPR, would I move Montgomery? No, I'd keep Montgomery in there. I just play Ayuk over Kelly. Thank you. Derek sends in a question. Derek says the following: Kelly or Hopkins? Yeah, I just roll with Kelly there. I'm confident with that. I don't have a problem with that. Enemies Within says Puka Nacua or Brian Robinson half PPR and also full PPR. Let's check where I have Brian Robinson in the half PPR. Because full PPR, it's going to be Puka Nacua, but let's see. Brian Robinson. Do we want to diversify today? That is the question, I suppose. Brian Robinson, even in a half PPR, I have ranked lower. So let's just roll with Puka in both scenarios. Thank you. Thank you, enemies. Appreciate it. Mustafa. Where art thou? Question, Mustafa. Mustafa's question. Where is it? There it is. Full PPR. Tyler Lockett or DeAndre Hopkins? I'll take Tyler Lockett there. Thank you. Appreciate it. We had a question from Moby1. Martin, hope you're doing well. Long time no see, man. Full PPR. Montgomery or Kelly? I'll take Montgomery there in a full PPR. Let's see here. Really close here for my flex. I'm not confident going with one over the other. Giving me the confidence I need. Yeah, look, at this point, between the two of them, it should be close, right? That's the thing. But let me think about this. Seattle's defense, the volume of touches he'll get, the uncontested backfield. Yeah, I think I'll just roll with Montgomery. I think that's my first instinct to begin with. Like, Kelly could play well, and he probably will. That's the expectation. But I know what I'm going to get out of Montgomery. I'm going to get 15 to 17 rushing attempts. I'm probably going to get 70 plus rushing yards and a touchdown. If he catches the ball out of the backfield, beautiful, because he was running routes last week. He doesn't have to pass block the whole time. I'm comfortable rolling with Montgomery because I know what I'm going to get, and it is a high upside kind of floor of production. If not more touchdowns, because obviously last Thursday's game was lower scoring game. If you get multiple touchdowns under the belt of Montgomery, we wouldn't even be surprised in that regard. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it. From the ground. Where are you? From the ground. Where the heck is your question, my man? There's no message. Well, yeah, I don't see anything. There it is. From the ground. It says, pick two, Zay Jones, Puka Nacua, or Jerry Jeudy. I would play Puka alongside of Jerry Jeudy there. Thank you, from the ground. I appreciate that. Ivan sends in a question. Says, start one in the flex. Puka Nacua, Zay Flowers, or Nico Collins. I'll take the Rams wide receiver. Once again, thank you very much. Blake Gibbs says, full PPR. Two running backs, two flex. Should I trade Chubb for Breece Hall and Josh Kelly? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Never consider it. Don't do it. Save yourself. Don't make the mistake. Joshua Kelly is a 1 week guy, and then maybe he can be a flexible option later, but he is not worth trading away Nick Chubb for that. No, do not do that. Jake String in the chat was asking, what about the Patriots versus the Dolphins tonight? As in for a defense? I think it could be a solid play. I honestly think that game might actually be a higher scoring game. And I think both defenses are kind of unplayable with that factor. That's the only thing I'm thinking. Let's see here. We had a question from... Oh, you know what? Did Bay Raven ever send anything in? There was nothing from Bay Raven. Bay Raven, I remember the name because somebody else in the chat named Raven said something. The other person in the chat whose name was Raven. So might as well answer it. Let's see. Where did it go? Raven Phoenix says Kenneth Walker is Zay Flowers in a half PPR scoring format. Let's see who I have ranked higher. I have... Where's Flowers in accordance with Kenneth Walker? Kenneth Walker is there. Zay Flowers is ranked lower. So Kenneth Walker is a suggestion. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Oh my God, I'm trying to catch up. I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost there. Okay. After Blake Gibbs' question of definitely not trading away Chubb, Flotation Swag says Roshan Johnson, Gus Edwards, Devon A-Chain. Start Edwards and Roshan Johnson this week? Yes. Trade for anyone or just roll with these guys and wait. At this point, yeah, I don't think. Look, for now, let's just see what we get out of Roshan Johnson this week, especially with Deontay Foreman out. Additionally, with the Ravens backfield, we want to see how much of a role Justice Hill is going to potentially have. Currently, Gus Edwards is the starter on the official Ravens depth chart, so we'll see how that kind of transpires. But for right now, I just hold the group and let it roll with the two that we mentioned. Ibrahim Yusuf says, "Hey Andrew, likely to lose. Should I start the Saints defense over the Niners?" And okay, no, I would play the Niners over the Saints for sure. Rashad White or Jahan Dotson, I'd play Rashad White there. Thank you. Ulysses Ventura, hope you're doing well. Thank you. Full PPR flex 2, Elliott, MVS, Ertz, Akers, Hubbard, OBJ. Of those options, oh damn, those are some brutal options. In a full PPR scoring format, Zach Ertz is the first player I'd like to play out of that group. Outside of that, I don't want to play Akers. I don't want to play Chuba Hubbard. I don't want to play Zeke. I don't want to play Odell Beckham. I don't really want to play MVS either. So if I had to play one, I'd probably just play MVS and hope that he falls into the end zone. If not, it makes a big play down the field. Officially, Christian Watson is out as expected. And we're good to go there. No problem. Keep it moving. We had Kegs sends in a question. Greetings, Andrew. Algier or Kelly? Flex. Can Kelly really bring the W with the Titans defense? I mean, okay, look, let's just put it this way, right? We know that us, I mean, because I'm going to have to continue to justify this as we go, right? It's a matter of volume of opportunity and the way that this team specifically uses their running backs. Like the Chargers starting running back, whether it was Eckler, I mean, if Eckler was, for example, active this week, right? He would be a top 5 running back. I wouldn't even question the idea of the matchup, right? I truly do think that all the receiving work that Eckler would potentially get in the given week is still going to go and shovel in the direction of Josh Kelly. So I'm confident in it. As to whether it pans out, time will tell. If you want to run Algier because of Cordero Patterson's absence, I was already expecting Cordero Patterson to be very limited usage anyway. The fact that he's completely absent doesn't make too big of a difference in my rankings. That's why I didn't adjust anything thus far. Because I expected Cordero Patterson, honestly, to play out wide or play in the inline as like a tight end at times. So if you want to play Algier, go for it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's like an egregious, oh, you can't do that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd roll with Kelly. Jordan M says full PPR, OBJ or Josh Reynolds. I have Josh Reynolds ranked higher. Thank you. Miles Kelly says pick 2 in the flex. 2 different leagues. We have League 1, Breece Hall, Jerry Jeudy, D-Hop. I'll take Jerry Jeudy there. League 2, Mike Williams or Tyler Lockett. I'll take, wait, actually you have context to it. DK Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb are my starting wide receivers for that league. Interesting. So do we double up on the Seattle wide receivers? Yeah, I would double up on it. I'd play Lockett and DK on the same team. Thank you. Atlas Person says full PPR. I need a flex between Jamal Williams, D-Hop, and Mixon. I know Mixon seems like the obvious choice. His matchup scares me. No, I understand. It makes sense. Let me see here. Where do I have? I don't think I have D-Hop probably ranked high enough in a full PPR anyway to even contest with even Jamal Williams. But I can check. Let's see here. Actually, yeah, in a full PPR, I have DeAndre Hopkins 46, Jamal Williams 47. But as you would assume, Joe Mixon is my highest ranked player out of the 3. If you don't want to play Joey Mixon, I guess in a full PPR you could just go with one of the other 2, but it's kind of just like how risk averse you are ultimately. Let's see here. We had a question from Estefan Joseph, Sky Moore or Brandon Cooks. Sky Moore and Brandon Cooks are on the bench. Tutu Atwell and Josh Reynolds are on the waivers. Should I drop both of these 2? I would probably drop Sky Moore and pick up Tutu Atwell and just play him if you need it. But if you're just like, hey, I'm not playing any of these 4 options anyway, what do? I still don't even mind the idea of picking up Tutu Atwell and dropping Sky Moore. But that's just my opinion at the moment. Thank you. Also, your follow-up question there, Estefan, was I have Pacheco in the flex. Who should I? Yeah, I would just keep Pacheco there in the flex. Thank you. All right, what's this next update? Amari Cooper unlikely to play in week 2. Okay, keep that in mind, guys. That was according to, who is that reported by? That is Adam Schefter that reported that Amari Cooper is unlikely to play tomorrow. Okay, keeping it moving. We had a question from Auntie Slayer. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. I have 2 flex spots, plus Bijan Robinson is my RB1. Do I follow the rankings and play Algier, or do I go with Rashad White and Flowers? Thank you. I mean, listen, I think Algier and Bijan Robinson are a great combo to have. If you prefer the other two, Rashad White and Zay Flowers, you can go for it. But yeah, at this point, it's Algier. You have 2 flex spots though, right? So are you, well, you probably already have somebody else in the flex. But yeah, I mean, if the rankings are as such, I'm going Algier. Gabriel Beck says PPR, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. Okay, so to answer that question first and foremost, I'll take Ayuk. Montgomery or Kelly, I'll take Montgomery. Thank you. Jaden Thornton sends in the following question. Jaden Thornton says, good morning. Thank you very much. Full PPR. Pick 3. Montgomery, Tyler Algier, Kelly, Kyron Williams, or Kyron Williams, Justice Hill. What was that? That's not Justin Herbert. That's Khalil Herbert. Okay. So if I'm picking 3 of those options, it's Montgomery, it's Algier, and it's Kelly. As for your pick 1 as a wide receiver 2 between Zay Jones and Zay Flowers and Romeo Dobbs, I would play Zay Flowers out of the 3. As for your flex, Connor or Kelly, I'd rather with Kelly there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jaden, thank you. Anthony Rodriguez, let's see what your question is, my man. There wasn't something attached to it, so maybe I can find it in the chat. Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony, if you could do me a favor and type in the chat, we greatly appreciate it because I don't see your question attached accordingly. JRR Tokens says Hollywood or Roshan. I'd honestly play Roshan, actually. D-Hop or Christian Kirk, I play D-Hop there. Cap. Paul sends in a question. Thank you, Paul. Says, hey, Andrew. I'm in a 3 wide receiver league in a full PPR. Haven't been able to play Christian Watson yet. Should I start Drake London, JSN, or MVS this week? If I'm starting one of the 3, I would legitimately play Drake London. Moving on. Donovan Langley says, full PPR, Kelly or Mike Williams? Where do I have him ranked? Where's Mike Williams accordingly? Yeah, it's Kelly. Thank you. Moving on. We had a question that came in from, where art thou? Demond Smith. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Very generous of you. What up, bro? Full PPR, Lockett, Puka Nacua, or Godwin? As of this moment, in a full PPR scoring format, let's find it. Full PPR, wide receiver. Of the available, we have Godwin ahead of Lockett. Thank you. And Puka, of course. So Godwin's the suggestion. Ibrahim Yusuf says, what game weather implications? The only weather games that are existing as of today are the 2 games that are in Florida. Jacksonville at home against Kansas City and Tampa Bay at home against Chicago. There was like about 50% chance of rain in those games. Nothing crazy though. All right, now it's time to do that. Boom. Okay, reminder. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, thank you, welcome. We're going to be here for the next hour and 5 minutes answering questions. If you guys have not yet already, click the like button down below. Greatly appreciate it. Additionally, the rankings on screen are updated as of this morning, half PPR. So if you have a question as to where I would rank these players, again, this does not include any players that already played this week. Doesn't include any players that are expected to be, out or anything like that. It's all up to date, all ready to go. Hopefully it helps you in regards to the 4 primary positions. At the top of the hour, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will mention top 12 kickers and defenses once again. And from there, we'll continue on. Thank you. We move on to Logert. Logert says, hey, man, Javonte Williams or Mixon in the flex, scary matchups. Yeah, I don't love either matchup, but I'll take Mixon there. Fabian says, yo, bro, Lockett or JSN PPR? Lockett for sure. Per sources says full PPR, David Montgomery, Mike Williams, Evan Ingram. I'll take David Montgomery there. Trevor Lawrence is my quarterback. Yeah, I'll still take David Montgomery there. Thank you. Isaac Souza says full PPR, Fields or Tua at quarterback. Follow-up question, Puka Nacua, Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, or Breece Hall. Full PPR, I'll take Puka Nacua there as your flex. As for the quarterback position, in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, I would play Justin Fields over Tua Tagovailoa. The only reason I would ever do the opposite, in which I would play Tua, is if in fact it was a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question that came in from Jake Perez. Thank you very much, Jake. It says full PPR. Where is the question? We have Rashad White, Puka Nacua, Elijah Moore, Kelly. I sat Addison, Sag face. Yeah, that is. Yeah, I mean Addison. Whew, listen, he's making all of his plays on one play a week, but hey, that's all we really need, right? Like that's what we want from Gabriel Davis. We want a guy that could just score a 50-yard touchdown every week, but Josh Allen doesn't get it done, unfortunately. But yeah, in regards to what you have, let me see here. We have PPR. Okay, let's see. Where art thou? So we have, where's Puka Nacua in this ranking? There he is. It's between Puka and Kelly. I'll take Kelly. Thank you. Let's see here. Hey, Andrew, half PPR, Puka Nacua, Romeo Doubs, or Thomas. Again, I mean, listen, the Rams wide receiver, 15 targets last week is no joke. And I understand the 49ers defense is great, but the pace of play at which the Rams are going to have to, kind of persist for the majority of the game is going to be, hey, we're going to have to throw the ball in order to try to catch up because we're down a bunch of points because our defense can't stop the 49ers offense. And when that's the case, it's going to be tough. And it's going to be a lot of targets going into the direction of the rookie wide receiver. Let's see here. We had a question in the chat from Chris Vela. He says, Montgomery, Gibbs, Dillon, Rashad White, full PPR. I'll take Dillon out of the bunch. Gibbs would be second. Montgomery would be third, and White would be fourth. Let's see here. Flotation Swag said the following. Flotation Swag says, OBJ, Kendrick Bourne, Zay Jones, Zach Ertz. I would play Zay Jones out of the group there. Kittle's my tight end already. Who do I start in the flex? Yeah, I'd go with Zay Jones. Thank you. Let's see. What was the other person who... Okay. Did Anthony Rodriguez send anything in terms of a question? He did. Anthony Rodriguez, question. I trade Joe Mixon for Jamar Chase, but I'm not too keen on Chase. Why? What would good trade value be for him? You're not too keen on Chase. Listen, the fact that you managed to get Jamar Chase for Joe Mixon should be illegal, first and foremost, okay? So congratulations on whoever you skimazed out of that. Follow up, just give it a week. Just give it this week. Let's not move him. Let's see what he does tonight. And then if he's hot garbage, you can do whatever you want. But I can assure you, he ain't going to be hot garbage. Breyer says, Puka counter is 152. Now it's 153. Yeah, it's pretty high, huh? Yeah, it's pretty high. So what happens, man? If you give me a Rams player that's relevant for fantasy and gets 15 effing targets in week 1, sheesh. Kicker and defensive rankings, yeah, top of the hour. At 9 a.m. flat, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. All right, Sleazy. Where's Sleazy's question? Sleazy had a question. Gabe Davis, Breece Hall, Tyler Lockett. I need to sit one in a half PPR. If I'm sitting one, it's Gabe Davis. I'd start Kelly Lockett and Breece Hall above him. Thank you. Appreciate it. I know you have Josh Allen, but I mean, if you want to risk it, you can. I don't feel comfortable in doing that. Jay Josh in the chat was saying Algier or Romeo Doubs. I'll take Algier there. Thank you. Algier or Puka and a half PPR, Algier. All right, it's 9 a.m. Let's talk about kicker and defensive rankings. Before I do so, while I am going over my top 12 kickers and defenses for the week, do me a solid. Click the like button down below. Greatly appreciate you guys supporting the channel in that regard. Thank you again. Alrighty, so the top 12 defenses for the week as of Andrew's current rankings are as follows. The Dallas Cowboys at number 1. San Francisco 49ers at number 2. New Orleans Saints at 3. Cleveland Browns at 4. Denver Broncos at 5. Buffalo Bills at 6. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7. New York Giants at 8. Green Bay Packers at 9. Indianapolis Colts at 10. Atlanta Falcons at 11. And the New York Jets at 12. We follow up with top 12 kickers. Number 1, Justin Tucker. Number 2, Tyler Bass. Number 3, Jake Moody. Number 4, Evan McPherson. Number 5, Harrison Butker. 6, Blake Grupe. Number 7, Nick Folk. Number 8, Cameron Dicker. Number 9, Jason Sanders. Number 10, Younghoe Koo. Number 11, Brandon McManus. And number 12, Daniel Carlson. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hopefully that helps. Adjust anything that you need to potentially adjust going into the given week. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and continue answering questions. J.90 says, Zay Flowers or Josh Kelly, PPR boss? I'm rolling with the running back there. Again, Josh Kelly's the play. Trey, I have not missed your super chat. I just haven't gotten to it yet, so we're going to get there. Thank you. Connor McCombs says, half PPR, I can start 2, Gus Edwards, Waller, Puka. I would start Waller and Puka there. That's 134. Moving on. Thank you very much. OKC BK says half PPR Kelly, Mike Evans, flex. Yeah, and a half PPR, I'll take the running back there. Yeah, I'd go with Kelly. Thank you. Mr. Kid says full PPR, pick 2. Wait, do I actually let me confirm that I even have Kelly ahead of Mike Evans before I'm talking about my Kelly's there. Mike, yeah, I do. Let me see. Who do I have? Kelly and Mike Evans are back to back in a full PPR, but that wasn't your question. Anyway, moving on. As for the next question from Mr. Kidd, he says AJ Dillon, Gibbs, James Conner, Rashad White, pick 2. I'll take AJ Dillon and Gibbs this week. Thank you. Joey Zeltzer says Breece Hall or Dotson in the flex. Half PPR Breece, full PPR Jahan. Thank you. Brian Hall. Oh, sorry, Brian. Who's Brian Hall? I just said there wasn't even a Hall even mentioned. Brian R. Apologies. Geno Smith or Brock Purdy? I'll take Brock Purdy today. Thank you. Trey Day says, sit 2, Montgomery, Jamal, Kelly, Algier. If I'm sitting 2, oh gosh. I don't really want to. Man, somebody's going to pop off that I said. I think they might all pop off this week considering it's such great matchups. Daniel Brucker says Broncos or Browns this week. I'm pretty sure, like I was mentioning earlier, I have the Browns ahead of the Broncos, but they're back-to-back 4 and 5, so whichever way you want to go, you can go with. Samuel, that is very firm handshakes to you, Samuel. Thank you. Okay, so let's get to this question because this one's a pain in my ass. Trade day. Montgomery starting. That is a given. Now it's between Jamal Williams, Kelly, Algier. I'm probably just playing Kelly alongside of him. Unless you're playing in a standard league, then I would just play Algier next to him. But that would be the only difference maker. Mr. Noodle says Elijah Moore, Kelly, Moss, Brian Robinson, pick 2. Out of that group, this week, half PPR, it would probably be Moore and... no, it wouldn't be Moore, actually. Let me check. Let's see here. Where do I have half PPR? Yeah, actually, it would be Moore. It would be Elijah Moore alongside of Kelly. Thank you. Choco sends in the following question. Choco says, full PPR. Romeo Dobbs, Zay Jones, Khalil Herbert, or Roshan Johnson. I would play Romeo Dobbs. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I'd probably play Zay Jones out of the group in a full PPR scoring format. Also, should I start the Giants or Texans defense? I'd rather play the Giants defense. Thank you. Zoe Zeltzer says Rashad White or Zay Flowers. Assuming it's a half PPR, let's see, Flowers. Where the heck do I have Rashad White? I have Flowers ahead of Rashad White in a full PPR and a half PPR. Thank you. We had Michael Barton. Thank you very much, Michael. Says Browns or Colts defense. Browns. Patrick Morris says Eckler and Jones are out. I need a flex. Michael Thomas, Mostert, or Bourne. Mostert in a half PPR standard. Michael Thomas in a full PPR. Thank you. Kyle Strobel says, last one, Connor versus the Giants or Kelly versus Tennessee full PPR. Yeah, I mean, I prefer Kelly. That's who I will go with. I think, yeah, I've mentioned it multiple times already. I just like what the starting running back of the Los Angeles Chargers does, regardless of who it is. You go back to last year, you go back to 2021 when Eckler missed the game, Justin Jackson stepped up and stepped in. The dude had 25 points. And I understand the Tennessee matchup is difficult. If you want to avoid it, by all means, go for it. That's not a problem. I have at any point, I would never say, oh, it's a terrible play to play Connor over Kelly. I think they're both great plays in the given week. Pitch says, haven't heard your defensive rankings yet. Brother, I said it literally 6 minutes ago. Literally 6 minutes ago at the top of the hour. So I don't know where, maybe you went to go get a drink. Maybe you went to go get, a snack. Either way, I'll get to those rankings once again, probably at about 9:30 p.m. PST. Until then, we're going to continue answering more questions. We had a question come in from Bob. Bob says, bench one. Of the three that you mentioned, Ayuk, James Cook, and Jamal Williams, I would bench Jamal Williams this week. Perry or Paul, hope you're doing well, Perry. Full PPR, Puka Nacua, Breece Hall, Zay Jones. Give me Puka. That's 135. Flotation Swag says, Ravens defense, Bucks, Browns, Saints. I will take the Saints, taking on the rookie quarterback. Thank you. Adrian Garcia says, Tua or Jared Goff? I'll take Tua there. I want to start Tua, but Goff has a great matchup. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start Tua. I mean, I think the momentum of what he did last week can probably continue on into this week. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not going to say he's throwing for 400 yards and 9 touchdowns, but I mean, he should be as good, if not better, than Jared Goff for sure. Thank you. Paul Cap says, Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert, or Dalton Kincaid. Pick one full PPR. In a full PPR, I'll play Roshan Johnson there. Colin Cypher says, Zay Jones, Godwin as my wide receiver 3. I'll take Godwin there. J-Bo says, David Montgomery or Puka Nacua in a full PPR. Pitts or Laporta. Okay, let's see here. Full PPR. Where art thou, Montgomery? So we have David Montgomery there, and we have Puka Nacua there, and then what do we have was Pitts and Laporta. Where's Pitts and Laporta? Tight ends, full PPR, Pitts, Laporta. So I have Laporta ahead of Pitts in a full PPR, and I have Montgomery ahead of Puka Nacua. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on. We had a question from JF0519. JF0519. Where art thou? Do I keep Jamal and Dalvin Cook, or should I trade them? If I should trade, who should I target? The issue with trading Jamal Williams is that in 2 weeks, Alvin Kamara comes back. So what you can get in exchange for him, I'm hoping it would be someone that has more potential in the future. Maybe go after someone like Roshan Johnson. Same thing with Dalvin Cook. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't miss him if you can get him off roster now, because Breece Hall seems to be on pace to absolutely take over soon enough. Kelly Barlow. Kelly, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. P. Ryan or Roshan Johnson? I'll take Shamaje P. Ryan there. Thank you. Sam Neimer. Sam Neimer. I almost said Minor. The dyslexia almost kicked in there. Full PPR, Elijah Moore with Cooper out or Jahan Dotson. In a full PPR with Cooper out now officially, I'll probably play Elijah Moore there. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from Kelly Barlow again. She said, Browns or Steelers with Cooper out. I mean, I still have the utmost confidence of the Browns defense being the better play in the given week. Thank you. Tyler says Elijah Moore, Drake London, or Mooney flex. I'll take Elijah Moore there. Cameron Spicer says, trade DeAndre Swift for Mike Evans. Who's your roster? PPR, T-Law, Bijan, Kamara, Kupp, Ridley. Nope, I wouldn't do it. I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't do it. You don't need it. You have Kupp and Ridley coming in real soon here. I don't think you need Mike Evans specifically. If I'm you, I'm looking to go buy low on AJ Brown, to be honest. That's who I'm looking to buy low on if you're going to move Swift. Dilo, hope you're doing well. Dilo says pick 2, half PPR, Tank Dell, Josh Downs, Juju, and Tony. I mean, technically, I have Tony and Juju ranked the highest amongst the 4. So I'll suggest it as such. Joshua Downs is going to require a lot more target utilization within that offense going forward. And Tank Dell, again, he's still behind Nico Collins and Robert Woods. Even with, Noah Brown out and on the IR, it's still tough to play them. So I'd roll with Tony and Juju. MC Chungi says, Should I start D-Hop over DJ Moore? No, I would play DJ Moore. Thank you. Lou 8304 says, Andrew, need the highest floor in a half PPR, RB1, RB2 today. Which two do I play? P. Ryan, Gus Edwards. We have Gibby and Kyron Williams. Highest upside is P Ryan and Gus. That's your highest upside. Thank you. Abdullah sends in a question, says Evans, Garrett Wilson, Damian Pierce, full PPR start two. I would start Mike Evans and I would start Damian. With the offensive line in shambles, I'd probably play Mike Evans and Garrett Wilson there in a full PPR. Thank you. Only Squids says half PPR, Miles Sanders or Mike Williams. I will take Miles Sanders there. Thank you. Alan sends in a question, says full PPR yesterday. Said Henry over Higbee. Yeah, change it up a little bit. So, of the potential of Higbee versus Henry, Higbee, here's the issue that I have with Higbee primarily. He could do it consistently. He just has to prove it now. That's it. I'm just going to wait for him to prove it. Until then, I'll just continue to default back to Higbee. Because I do think that Puka will see less targets this week. He's not going to see 15 again. And when that does take place, and obviously we see less targets from Van Jefferson and, of course, Tutu Atwell as well, Higbee should be able to rack in a pretty good volume of upside in the given week. A.J. Dillon or Travis Etienne, I'd just play Travis Etienne this week. I wouldn't even worry about that. You're good. We had a question from Chris Rosato. He says, full PPR. Pick 3.5 PPR. Sanders, Montgomery, Dillon, Flowers, Kirk, Lockett, Godwin. In a half PPR, if I'm picking three of these options, it's Dillon, Montgomery, and Lockett. Also, follow up Njoku or Henry. I'll take Njoku there. Thank you. Andy says, I'm late, so you may have addressed this. Cordero Patterson is inactive. Does that bump Algier? Does that bump Algier higher than what's behind you? No. Okay, so currently, prior to Cordero Patterson being inactive going into the week, I had Cordero Patterson ranked as my number 45 running back. So I didn't expect much out of him anyway. I expected him to just be used kind of primarily as a receiving option. So the fact that he's not active doesn't make a huge difference, considering I didn't even expect him to get much utilization out of the backfield. The interview from earlier this week from Arthur Smith, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, was, very much so. I love having two young stud running backs. They're unselfish players. We're going to continue to rotate them. We're going to continue to split touches. We're good to go. So with that kind of a confidence boost that he has, and of course that he exclaimed in his interview, obviously earlier this week, it does not adjust Algier any higher. I think he's already pretty high up for what we anticipate to see. I think it's just a matter of getting another week of seeing the two, how they're going to be utilized in terms of snap counts, red zone rushing attempts, etc. And then that will kind of give us a solidified view of what we'll see for the remainder of the season. Cam Akers or Justice Hill, says Jim Gator. I would not play Cam Akers. I'll play Justice Hill there. Ayuk, Flowers, Rashad White. Cody, what's your scoring format? Assuming it's a half PPR, I'd probably play Ayuk with White there. If it's a full PPR, I'll probably play both wide receivers. All right, we had a question that came in from... All right, so Andy, the follow-up to your question is, does that nudge him ahead of Kelly? I mean, again, you can play him over Kelly. I have no problem with playing Algier over him. I don't have a problem with playing Javonte Williams over Kelly. I don't have a problem with playing Connor over Kelly, Jamal Williams over Kelly, Kenneth Walker over him. The cutoff that I probably find is that I would not play Miles Sanders ahead of Kelly. But in terms of like being in the same tier of running back, I'm fine with any of those guys playing playing over him in the given week. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to roll with it, you may. Thank you very much. Moving on, we had 4TA Music says full PPR, pick 2, Hollywood Judy, Pickens Shaheed. Considering Pickens' new injury, I'd probably roll with Judy and Shaheed in the given week. Thank you. Tim Atree says full PPR, Monty or Kelly. I'll take Monty there. Follow up. 1 second. Let me just check something here. Follow up to that. Already starting Gibbs. Yeah, I would start both of the running backs for Detroit. I have no problem with that at all. Thank you. All right. JF0519 says start Roshan Johnson, Lazard, or Cortland Sutton. I'll play Roshan Johnson there. Thank you. Jaden Oliver says flex, half PPR, Sanders or Kendrick Bourne. Give me Sanders. Jonas, send in a question. Jonas, where art thou? Jonas, if you could do me a favor, type in the chat so I can see your question. Thank you. Lenny V23 says Josh Kelly or DJ Moore in the flex. Probably rolling with Kelly. Yeah, Kelly's the play. Brian Robinson or Kelly, I'll roll with Kelly. Zay Jones or McLaurin. I'm probably in a position. I mean, yeah, I'm probably just rolling with Zay Jones there. No. In a half PPR, I probably roll with McLaurin. In a full, no, I probably roll with McLaurin actually in both scenarios. The only position I would ever play Terry McLaurin over Zay Jones is if it's in a standard league. Thank you. I'm looking for Jonas. Where are you at, Jonas? Moving on from Jonas and Lenny. We had Jorge Perez, who didn't have anything attached either. Jorge, anything in the chat? Anything in the chat? There you are. Jorge Perez says, good morning. Full PPR. I need 2 running backs and a flex. Miles Sanders, ETN, Mixon, Kyron, and Nakua and Dillon. All right, 2 running backs and a flex. I'm playing ETN. I'm playing AJ Dillon, and I'm also playing Joe Mixon. Thank you. Moving on. Hugo says, Cooper, Lamb, Flowers, Shaheed. Starting 3. Who's sitting? I'm playing Lamb and Flowers today. Cooper's not expected to play tomorrow, said Adam Schefter, so you play Shaheed as well. So those are the 3. Twin Turbo says Goff or Love. I'll take Goff this week. Thank you. I'm still looking for Jonas. Anything in the chat, Jonas? Anything? No? Okay, keep it moving. We had a question that came in from D. Ill. Says, is it worth taking this week's game? Wait, what does it say? Is it worth tanking this week's game so I get the first pick on the waivers so I can get DeAndre Swift? In a 12-team league, some dummy dropped him. If your league works on like the lowest team in the standings getting the best available player, the only question I would have is, hey, what the heck is, well, I hate that, first and foremost. The fact that you can tank to get players is just, I don't like that. It needs to be fab, or at very least a continual rolling list. Nonetheless, considering that is your situation, if you already expect to lose and you're in a league where you have 12 teams and 8 teams make the playoffs and you're like, you know what, I don't mind losing 1 week, it's not going to kill me, I would never suggest that you try to int your game and intentionally, throw the game. But I mean, Swift looks pretty nice, huh? Swift looks pretty nice. Flowers or Elijah Moore? I'll take Flowers there. Garrett Wilson for AJ Brown straight up. Who wins the trade? AJ Brown. Without a doubt, 1,050%. Thank you. We moved on from Vowed on Film. It says half PPR flex. Kelly, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Puka Nacua. Give me Kelly. Trey Day says DJ Moore or Tyler Algier. Whoo, baby, 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 baby. The pain. The pain. I think they're both going to play well. That's the problem. Who has higher upside in a full PPR? I would venture to say it's probably DJ Moore because he's the receiver and he probably catches the ball more than 6 times. That's probably my thought process there. Trey Day says DJ Moore. Yeah, that's it, Trey Day. I think that's probably a DJ. DJ's the play. Moving on, we have Jake Thompson. Thank you very much, Jake. It says, I have Allen and Richardson with Dalvin Cook and Khalil Herbert and Kieran Williams. Should I trade Allen for a running back? Likely won't get a top 5, but who do I target? If you trade away Josh Allen and you're trying to get a running back in return, I would try to find someone like Josh Jacobs, who's underperformed thus far, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, Jahmyr Gibbs, players like that. Moving on, we had a question from I Love Women. It says, pick 4 PPR, Najee, Pittman, Kelly, Godwin, Mike Williams. Of the available, I am starting Pittman, Kelly, Godwin, and Mike Williams. Thank you. What is this? Nothing. Good. Keep it moving. Justin says Monty or Pierce. I'll take David Montgomery there. Marwin says Hopkins, Michael Thomas, or Miles Sanders. Assuming it's a half PPR, Do I play Sanders ahead of Hopkins? Let's see. Sanders, I think I do, mainly because Hopkins is a little hobbled. Yeah, I would play Sanders over the bunch. Thank you. Moving on, the follow-up question is Anthony C. Andrew, in a full PPR, Jahan Dotson, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, or D-Hop, pick two. I will play Garrett Wilson, and I will play D-Hop. Thank you. Toast says, what Pickens injury? He popped up on the injury report. I mean, this was a surprise to me as well. I didn't even see it. Yesterday, at practice, limited because of a hamstring injury. That is the issue. Do I play Elijah Moore over him? You probably will, because Amari Cooper won't play. Aldwin, thank you very much, says, what's up with Amari Cooper? Is he out or just low? No, he's out. He's not technically designated out yet, but the report that we read earlier this morning was that Adam Schefter of ESPN said that he was not likely to play tomorrow. Reese Adams says, DJ Moore or Najee Harris, half PPR? That's a great question. Let's see. Where do we have Najee in comparison to is DJ Moore? We have DJ Moore ahead of Najee Harris. Keep it rolling. Thank you. We have Michael Vare says Algier or Zay Jones. I have Bijan. Roll with Algier and Bijan. Thank you. DeAndre Warren says PPR. Should I trade AJ Brown for Josh Jacobs? I have Mixon, Montgomery, P. Ryan. My wide receivers are AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Jordan Addison. Look, in the long run, I do believe that. What's the format? It's full PPR. I think in the long run, they are very comparable in terms of their potential value. If you don't trust your running backs, you can make the switch. Otherwise, I think keeping AJ Brown is not a bad idea. Ultimately, the higher upside of play, I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to get back to what he was able to do last year, because that was some crazy numbers, averaging over 17 fantasy points per game and a half PPR, probably like 19 in a full. I don't think he'll get back to that number, so I think they're relatively close. But if you prefer the running back depth, go for it. I think they're almost identical in terms of value going forward. Jaden Thornton says, what does this say? People want to veto Barkley for Garrett Wilson. Thoughts? I'm confused. Who the heck is trading Barkley for Garrett Wilson? That should not exist. I would veto that. As a commissioner, I would ensure that would not happen. Actually, no, I wouldn't. As a commissioner, I let every trade go through as long as it doesn't have any collusionary effect attached to it, because I'm willing to say, hey, if you want to trade Barkley for Garrett Wilson and then Garrett Wilson ends up, putting up 40 points a week for the remainder of the year, who am I to say that that's not going to happen? I can't predict the future. So at this point, just got to let it happen. I know it's egregious, and you probably want to investigate on that. There might be some, $20 bills being stuffed in pockets, but be careful. JRR Token says almost 1K likes. Yes, it is almost 1K likes. At 9:30 a.m. PST, so in about 6 minutes, I'll go over top 12 kickers and defenses once again. For those of you who are joining us this morning, thank you. Welcome. Rankings are on screen, up to date. I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible. We will talk about kicker and defensive rankings soon. Tyler Algier or DeAndre Hopkins says Will in the chat. I'll take Tyler Algier there. Puka, Elijah, or Garrett, I'll take Puka there. That's 136 on the counter. Sean in the chat was asking, good morning, Andrew. 2 quick questions, both PPR, Etienne or Ramondre. I will take Etienne. Ramondre's offensive line is in shambles today. And pick up one flex, Miles Sanders, Zay Jones, Jamal Williams, or Algier. Out of the available for the flex, I'll take Algier there. Thanks. Appreciate it. Moving on. We had a question from... We took care of that. Vowed on Film says Zay Jones, Puka. Okay, we'll go with Puka there again. Thank you. Lalo says James Cook or Kelly. I have James Cook higher than Kelly. Follow up TJ for Allen. Who the heck is TJ? And Goddard. TJ Hawkinson. Okay, TJ Hawkinson for Allen and Goddard. Fair? Yeah, that's fair. That's ultimate. The Josh Allen side actually is the better side. But anyway, moving on. We had Landon Ramirez say flex, Dotson, Nico Collins, Hayden Hurst, or Samaje Perine. Out of the group of players that you mentioned, I would suggest Jahan Dotson. Thank you. Cinco2X says PPR, Puka Nakua, or Rashad White. I'll take Puka there in a full PPR. Thanks. Graham 030375. AJ Dillon or Damian Pierce. Give me AJ Dillon. Tyler Lockett, Christian Kirk, or Zay Jones. I'll take Tyler Lockett. Thank you. L34 Glow says half PPR. I need to Dillon, Connor, Pierce, Kelly. Give me Dylan and Kelly. Thank you. Hood Blaze says Tua or Tua or Anthony Richardson. Okay, between the two, Tua is the suggestion. I do acknowledge that Anthony Richardson has the upside to meet him in terms of potential upside points, but for now, we'll go with Tua. Follow-up question, Brian Robinson or Zach Moss in the flex. I know what Brian Robinson is going to get in terms of volume, and that's promising, so I'll lean towards Brian Robinson in that regard for this week until we see what kind of utilization Zach Moss gets with Deion Jackson out of that backfield. Follow-up, who's better rest of the season, Higbee or Freiermuth? Probably Freiermuth. Thank you. Moving on. Yeah, I mean, Freiermuth, prior to the season beginning, I had higher ranked than Higbee, so for that purpose, we just go in that direction for a PPR. Thank you. Stevie O 150886 says full PPR. I need to play 2. Gibbs, Sanders, DJ Moore. Gibbs and DJ Moore full PPR. Thank you. DTN Rom 88. Risk Puka at 4 p.m. with Elijah Moore backup, or Zay Jones / Zach Moss need upside full PPR. I'd take the risk. I don't think it's a risk, but I would take it. Why is Breece Hall so low? Jack, the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys is really unfavorable for him. Additionally, the head coach, Robert Saleh, came out and said, we're going to continue to keep Breece Hall at a limited capacity this week because we still need to get him kind of ramped up before we give him 20 touches a game. You know, like the difference between him and Javonte Williams, despite both them coming off ACL injuries, is that Javonte Williams has progressed far quicker and is immediately, just like last week, he had 19 total touches or opportunities. Like the volume in which they're giving him comparatively is pretty favorable. So for the case of Breece Hall, unless he's going to break out another huge run and have that kind of a huge upside play with a touchdown, which again, I'm not expecting to see him only playing. I mean, he literally only played 17 snaps the other day. 31% of the total offensive snaps. That is not enough for me to justify if he's not able to have a huge run or score a touchdown to play him over a lot of the alternative options. Just for context. Thank you. FBP1 says, dang, no Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is on the list. Michael Thomas is number 26. Is it really? It's not small. The text is not small. There's no way y'all can't read that. There's no way. All right. So in about 2 minutes, we'll mention kickers and defenses. Before we get there, if you guys could do me a solid, I greatly appreciate you guys joining us this morning. We're going to be answering questions for the next 32 minutes straight before kickoff for week 2 of the 2023 fantasy football season. If you have not yet already, click the like button. Greatly appreciate the support in that regard. We had a question that came in from, where are we? Stevie O, we took care of. We took care of DTN. Valid says, any concerns about Puka and his oblique injury? The fact that he was limited on Friday leads me in the direction that he's going to be active. If there was a concern of him missing today's game, we would have already heard about it. Because just like we've already heard about Amari Cooper unlikely to play, we would have already seen a report from Adam Schefter, somewhere of that, kind of realm of, hey, be careful, Puka Nacua may not be, we'll probably hear that, but we haven't already, therefore we're good to go. J Beats 14, half PPR bench 1. Ayuk versus the Rams. No, I'm not benching him. Pierce versus Indy. I might. D-Hop versus the LA Chargers. I almost said LAC because that's what it is, LAC. Playing through the ankle sprain. At this moment in a half PPR, I would play Pierce and Ayuk. Thank you. Dylan Liu says Miles Sanders or Najee Harris this week. Look, at this point, I'll take Miles Sanders. Yeah, Najee Harris, man, he needs to kind of prove us wrong, kind of thing. Like, hey, I'm actually good still. Let's see here. He's only answering donated questions. A lot of people spamming. I'm actually not. I've tried to keep it kind of blended, but hey, I gotta show support for the people who are showing support to me, right? So I gotta answer those questions, and there's a lot of them. So apologies, but I'm trying my best. Okay, speaking of trying my best, we got to go ahead and talk about top 12 kickers and defenses. This will probably be the final time that I mention it, so keep your ears peeled. Are we ready? Top 12 defenses going into week 2 of the 2023 fantasy football season begins with Dallas Cowboys number 1, San Francisco 49ers number 2, New Orleans Saints number 3, Cleveland Browns number 4, Denver Broncos 5, Buffalo Bills 6, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7, New York Giants 8, Green Bay Packers 9, Indianapolis Colts 10, Atlanta Falcons 11, and New York Jets 12. We move on to the kicker conversation, beginning with our number 1, Justin Tucker, number 2, Tyler Bass, number 3, Jake Moody, number 4, Evan McPherson, number 5, Harrison Butker, number 6, Blake Grupe, number 7, Nick Folk, number 8, Cameron Dicker, number 9, Jason Sanders, number 10, Younghoe Koo, 11 is Brandon McManus, and 12 is Daniel Carlson. That'll conclude it for that. Thank you very much. We're good to go. Mike Williams or Miles Sanders says Austin. Austin, let me see what I have here. Where are we with Sanders and Mike Williams? I have Sanders 4 spots ahead of Mike Williams this week. Thank you. Algier or Garrett Wilson says Alex. I'll take Algier there. Miles Sanders or Gabe Davis. Richard, I'll take Miles Sanders. Singletary, Hubbard, or Deion Jackson. I'll take Hubbard there, Fran. Moving on, we had a question that came in from Catherine. Catherine Stokely. It says full PPR flex, Khalil Herbert, Laporta, or Rashid Shaheed. Ooh, full PPR leads me in the direction of going with Rashid Shaheed this week. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate it. We had Darth Javi says full PPR, start 2 Montgomery, DJ Moore, Dillon. Give me both running backs. Give me Montgomery and Dillon. Thank you. Jan Palomo. Jan Palomo. I'm butchering it, probably. Full PPR, trade Judy for Nakua. No, in fact, it's the other way around. If you have Puka Nakua, trade him for Judy. Moving on. Jam or Jamma says PPR, Pierce, Jackson Smith and Jigba, or Puka. Puka Nakua, what is that? Counter 140 now? Where are we at? Someone said Hunter. Is that Hunter Henry or Tutu Atwell? I'll probably play Tutu this week. Thank you. My neck is broken. Moving on to EL34 Glow. Forgot I own Keenan Allen. Where is your prior question? You have Dylan, Connor, Pierce, Kelly, Keenan Allen, I guess, is your other alternative option. If you don't want to stack both, I mean, again, like I was mentioning earlier, if you guys are worried about Kelly because of the Tennessee matchup, by all means, it's justified worriness, right? I'm confident because of the volume of touches he'll get. Nonetheless, if you want to start Kenneth Walker, Jamal Williams, James Conner, Javonte Williams, or Tyler Algier over Kelly, it's all fine. So in regards to your question, Elglow, if you want to play James Conner over Kelly because you don't want to stack up multiple Chargers on one team, by all means, go for it. I have no problem with that. Lou in the chat was asking Rashad White or James Cook. James Cook is the answer. Again, guys, rankings on screen are up to date, half PPR. I know you might be playing in a full PPR, but a lot of these running backs, especially someone like James Cook, who is getting himself a high volume of receptions already, had himself 4 catches on 6 targets on Monday night's game against the Jets. Like, we know that those guys are going to continue to maintain among the top there. So keep that in mind. We are 10 likes away, 10 from breaking 1,000. If we can close the gap, baby. Let's close the gap. AJ Dillon or Zay Flower says Bears production. Let's go AJ Dillon there. Deshaun Watson or Dak Prescott? I will take Dak Prescott there. I think Deshaun Watson without Amari Cooper is a little bit sketchy. How about the Dolphins matchup? For what? Are we talking about like defense? Truzy? What are we talking about? Let's see here. We had a question coming from Ryan Espinoza. Thank you very much, Ryan. Start 1. Tony, Boyd, JSN, or Reed. Out of the group there, I think I have... Let me see. Man, you must be playing in a deep league. I have Tyler Boyd ranked the highest among the bunch there. Thank you. Moving on, we have Anthony Rodriguez says floor/ceiling Deshaun Watson this year. Floor, quarterback 11. Ceiling, quarterback 5. Thank you. Moving on. We had Dan Seck, pick 2, Dotson, Puka, Flowers, Connor. I'll play Puka and Connor there. Thank you. John Yeps. Amari Cooper is probably out tomorrow. I have to choose between starting Allen Robinson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, or Josh Reynolds, full PPR. Out of the group, I have Josh Reynolds ranked the highest. Thank you. Cinco2X says, can you explain why Puka is over White 49ers defense? Yeah, listen. Puka's primarily over Rachaad White because of Rachaad White's inefficiency. And going forward, I think today's the biggest test for Rachaad White as to whether or not he's going to maintain majority of that rushing work. I think we may even see more Sean Tucker this week than we want to. So that's why I'm kind of worried about Rachaad White in general. The thing about Puka Nacua against the 49ers, the volume of opportunity will lead to success. So even if Puka Nacua gets 14 targets and only catches 7 of them, 7 catches in a full PPR scoring format with whatever yardage he's scooping up is no effing joke, right? So it's kind of hard for me to sit here and think that they're not going to continue to throw the ball in his direction, because I can assure you Van Jefferson and Tutu Atwell are not going to be getting open on those deep routes as often as they were last week. Let's see here. Mark that boy says, Tony, Elijah Moore, or Gus Edwards PPR. Give me Elijah Moore there. Thank you. YK Matt 27, D-Hop or Rachaad White full PPR? I'll take D-Hop there. Thank you. Toast says, playing Kelly over Najee Harris. Yeah, I would. Also have Roshan Johnson. I'd still play Kelly there, but I wouldn't play Roshan over Najee. I'd play Najee there. Sean Bond says, Zach Moss or Gibson rest of season. Okay, here's the thing. Zach Moss is only relevant if Jonathan Taylor is not an Indianapolis Colt or is not playing. Therefore, Gibson will be the rest of the season play, but I'd like to have Moss on roster if you're going to utilize him in the next 2-3 weeks here until we see the return of Jonathan Taylor. You never know. Jonathan Taylor might come back and they trade him away to the Miami Dolphins like they were trying to do before the season began. As for your follow-up, add 1 Burks, Austin, Bateman, Chark in a standard league. I would add Chark. Thank you. Shant says, hey, brother. Zay Flowers, Nico Collins, Zach Moss. I already have Mark Andrews. I'd probably still suggest playing Zay Flowers. Let me see. Do I have Zach Moss higher than him even in a half PPR? Let's see. No, I don't. So at this point, it's just Flowers. You just got to double stack it up and hope for the best. Otherwise, the next best option is Moss, and then after that, it'll be Nico Collins. Thank you. Organic says, trying to avoid starting 3 Browns. Chubb is locked in at running back. Full PPR, pick 2. Zay Flowers, Elijah Moore. Yeah, I already have Zay Flowers ranked higher than Elijah Moore on screen. I'd continue with that. David Njoku or Kincaid. So I would start 2 Browns this week. Njoku, Chubb, play Flowers. Thank you. We move on to Brandon Malone's question. Says, drop Tank Bigsby, Jalen Warren, or Sam Laporta to pick up a kicker. I have Musgrave already at tight end. Walker, Pierce, Brian Robinson, Kyron Williams at running back PPR. If I'm dropping a running back, it's Tank Bigsby. Or if I'm dropping a player out of that group, it's Tank Bigsby. Thank you. Zay sends in a question, says, drop Daniel Jones ahead of... Wait, sorry. Why is Daniel Jones ahead of Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson's number 1 target's out. Daniel Jones has far more rushing upside. Thank you. LP says full PPR and an easier matchup just in general. LP says full PPR. Pick 2 starters. I mean, when Sam Howell can be relevant in fantasy last week against the Arizona Cardinals defense, I would imagine that the anger that was kind of collected from the 40-0 shutout on Sunday Night Football, embarrassed in front of the whole world, I'm 100% confident that Daniel Jones will have himself a bounce back game here. If he doesn't, my goodness, they better go and try to get out of that contract, because they're giving this man $40 million a year. So he better do something. Don't Quit Out says, if I had $1 every time I audibly heard the neck crack on stream, I'd be able to pay for my fantasy buy-in. Yeah, listen, the neck crack is just, it's a tick. I've gotten used to it. It's something that I picked up when I played football for so long. It's just, it's tough. And I haven't gotten rid of it. Godwin or D-Hop, says Mike Hawk. Good name. Godwin. Algier or Javante, full PPR. Ah, man. I'd probably go Algier there. That's a good question, though, man. I could go either way. Actually, though. I might even go Javante. No, let's just go Algier. Let's just leave it at that. Montgomery, Nico Collins, or Pittman. I like Montgomery a lot this week as the number 1 of those 3, Gabriel. All right, Isaiah Flores says Algier or Dylan standard. I'll take Dylan in the standard. Thank you. Vic84 says PPR. Start 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, 1 running back. Mike Williams, Lockett, Burks, Andrews, Miles Sanders, Dylan Stevens. Okay, wow. Mark Andrews is in there too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so your wide receiver that you're playing is Tyler Lockett. The running back that you're playing, I mean, yeah. At this point, we're benching. We're not playing Mark Andrews, or at least I'm not playing Mark Andrews in the given format. Let me check. Full PP, is it full PPR? Let me confirm. Yeah, Mark Andrews in comparison to Ramondre. Where is he? Scroll over. Mark Andrews 29. Ramondre is 20. Yeah, it's not even close. So the suggestion would be Lockett, Dylan, and Stevenson. Vic 84. Thank you. Ernesto, thank you very much. Says David Montgomery or Josh Reynolds PPR? Give me David Montgomery. Glock Richo says Raheem Mostert or Elijah Moore in a full PPR. Raheem Mostert or Elijah Moore full PPR. Let me go check my rankings. I was about to crack my neck, and now you guys are making me self-conscious. You understand? You see what you did to me? I'll go with Raheem Mostert there. Thank you. Witcher J3 or Witcher TJ3 says James Cook or Michael Williams. Give me James Cook. Thank you. Pedro's Lucario says standard. I need one. Kelly or Edwards. I'll take Kelly. Need one flex and one super flex. Waller, Hunter Henry, Shaheed, Love, Mac Jones. I have Mac Jones ahead of Love this week, so I'll take Mac Jones there. And if you're going to play a regular flex, it's Waller. Thank you. Moving on, Jay says Kansas City or New England defense. If I was going to play one of the two, I would play New England's. Follow up to that is half PPR Sutton, Boyd, Gus Edwards, or Gabriel Davis. Out of those available options in a half PPR, I'd probably end up playing Gus. Gus Edwards the safest play. If you want the high upside, you know it's Gabe Davis, but I wouldn't suggest it. So at this point, it's just Gus. All right. We surpassed 1,000 likes, huh? Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. It's greatly appreciated. We've been here since 7 a.m. I appreciate y'all. We're going to continue to answer questions. Again, if you are just joining us, the rankings on screen are up to date as of this morning. Let's answer some questions. Dude, how do you have nails? How do you have the nails emote? How did you get, where does that come from? Nails. Logan says, full PPR, D-Hop, Elijah Moore, or Marquise Hollywood Brown start 2. D-Hop and Elijah Moore, Logan. Thank you. Why is Higbee over Henry at tight end? I need Henry to kind of prove to me that he's going to continue to be relevant. That's kind of why. I know Higbee didn't do anything last week to prove relevancy, but I think in the matchup, it's just, what does that say? Big roll? Cooper Kupp? Yeah, okay, we get it. These are some just BS reports. Henry has more touchdown upside, but I believe this week, specifically against the 49ers, Tyler Higbee has more reception / target upside. LP says, skipped over my previous super chat. LP. Did I? I did, accidentally. Apologies. So LP said, and I quote, full PPR, pick 2 starters in a flex. We have Joe Burrow or Justin Fields. I will take Joe Burrow this week against the decimated defensive injuries for the Baltimore Ravens. DJ Moore or Flowers, I'll take DJ Moore. And then in the flex, AJ Dillon or James Conner, I will take AJ Dillon. Will you do Underdog Pick'em? Sure, let's do it right now. As of right now, let's go ahead. Let's go to the screen cap. I'll be back in about half a second here. Boop, 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 boop. As of right now, via Underdog Fantasy, again, if you guys haven't checked out the link down in the description, you can use code Andrew. Make a first-time deposit minimum of $10. And for the remainder of the season, every single Sunday morning, you will get all of my rankings, full PPR, flex, half PPR, all of it sent to you through your email. So if you've already done that, it's in your email. Just a heads up. There is the 100K super play as of today, but there also is the Christian McCaffrey 0.5 total yards. It was pretty much a free overall play. Some of the players that ultimately I am keen on playing as of this moment, or in terms of their stats that I liked. Where's the, I'm trying to think, who are the, oh, okay, here it is. I'm just going to search it. Justin Herbert, I think in terms of yard, I'm not going to bank on the yardage. I'm going to bank on the passing attempts. Additionally, I'm banking on Deebo Samuel having a big week here. So we'll go higher on this. And then if we're in the business of just stacking up 49ers, which kind of seems like we are now, I'll take Purdy on the passing touchdowns. And then to close it out, Give me Nick Chubb. His yardage moved up so much, man. It was so much. Dude, it was low earlier this week, but it's already blocked out because I can't. Yeah. So, we need one more play. We need one more play. Let me scroll here. Let me find something. Let me find something. Where art thou? Who wants to be the play of the day? They even moved up Puka Nakua's receptions. It was 4.0 earlier this week. I got it in at 4.0. Look at Higbee's thing total. Higbee's at 5.0 receptions. What is that? How about that, huh? Who am I going to roll with? Who am I going to roll with? Where's Saquon? Yeah, I'll take this. In terms of, man, they moved his number up so much. I'll take it. That's fine. Bing, bang, bop. What? Fantasy points on the same team? Huh? Why? Oh, come on. Okay, so I got to get rid of Brock Purdy. Alrighty. Alright. We'll just leave it at this. That's fine for now. Thank you very much. Moving back. Keep it moving. Back to answering questions. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Alrighty. So, back to answering the onslaught of questions that are being thrown in the direction of yours truly. We had Ray Lomas say Mixon or A.J. Dillon. I'll take A.J. Dillon. Why is the Bucs defense ahead of the Colts? Did you watch the Bears play last week? They are turnover machines. And I think that's not going to stop this week. Therefore, I'm expecting it to probably be the case. Now, if you want to play the Colts, I have no problem against it. I'm playing the Colts in a couple of my leagues as well. I just like the Bucs defense as of this current moment in time. Fields versus the Bucs or Daniel Jones versus Arizona, says Mr. Block Ice 22. I'll take Justin Fields this week. Thank you. Big Drew says PPR start 2 Joe Burrow, Jimmy G, Jared Goff. Give me Joe Burrow and Jared Goff. Thank you. Whose questions did I miss? I mean, I got to scroll back up, I think, a little bit. Pedro, we took care of. Jay, we took care of. LP, we took care of. Xanthius Sutton. That is an incredible name. PPR. I need one running back, one wide receiver, one flex. We have Puka Nacua, we have Nico Collins, we have Zach Moss, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, and we have Christian Kirk. Out of those available options, running back is Gibbs, Puka is wide receiver, and in a PPR, Christian Kirk is the flex. Thank you. Jan Palomo says, Judy, Lockett, Rashad, Javante. Pick one for the flex. It's Judy. Thank you. Big Drew, we took care of your question. Mark Block Ice, we're good. Val, we took care of. Lomas, we took care of. Yo Vincenzo says 49ers or Giants. I'll take the 49ers defense today. DJ or Atwell or Puka. I'll take DJ Moore. If you don't trust DJ Moore, then roll with Puka Nacua. That's the next best option. Thank you. Charles R says pick 2 rest of the season. Tua, Fields, Anthony Richardson. If I'm picking 2 rest of the season, it's Tua and Fields. Thank you. Joel Duncan says Burrow versus a defense with 3 missing starters or Trevor Lawrence. The issue that I have with this is the issue that I have with Joe Burrow. I'm actually still afraid of his mobility being a problem, so I'm still gonna roll with Lawrence there. Thank you. Cody says 17-man guillotine league. Judy, London, or Edwards. We're playing Judy this week. Thank you. Tyler says Zach Moss or Gabe Davis, half PPR. I'll take Zach Moss there. Dustin, where art thou? Dustin, where are you? Dustin says standard league Javante, Algier, Dotson. I would play Algier in a standard scoring format. Thank you. Ray Lomas says DJ Moore or David Montgomery. Give me David Montgomery there. Jeff Math says start flex DJ Moore or Josh Kelly in a full PPR. I'm probably leaning towards Kelly still. CB says full PPR Nico Collins or Breece Hall. I'll take Nico Collins there. Kelly Merle says Gibbs or Montgomery. Montgomery over Gibbs in a standard and a half PPR. Gibbs over Montgomery in a full PPR. Thank you. Eugene Leone says pick 2, Mike Williams, Algier, Sanders. Give me Mike Williams and Algier in a full PPR. Thank you. Christian Montez says full PPR, Dotson, Kelly, Puka. I'll take Kelly first and foremost, Puka second, Dotson third. Thank you. Let's go to the chat. Hopefully I can catch up. What does it say? Kyron Williams, Kittle, Kendrick Bourne in the half PPR. I will take Kittle there. Joshua Kelly or James Cook. Give me James Cook. Najee Harris or Garrett Wilson, PPR flex. Give me Garrett Wilson. I have Tua. Should I start Brian Robinson or Mostert? I would start Mostert. Thank you. Thoughts on Jake Ferguson? He was just outside of the top 16 rankings. He's literally my number 17. Cam Akers to be deactivated for week 2. Could be on the trade block. Yeah, so Kyron Williams is now officially, I keep saying Kieran. I mean, I don't care. I just like saying them both. He's officially a starter. Cam Akers is dead again for the second year in a row. God, Akers, you killing us, man. Goff or Burrow? I like Burrow today. Again, the rankings are on screen, guys. So if you have any questions in regards to like interpositional questions, like someone just asked Najee Harris or Moss, I would still run with Najee there. Thoughts on Jake Ferguson with Cook out? Yeah, Jake Ferguson's going to be great. He's number 17, though, because the issue is, I mean, he's got to score a touchdown to be relevant for fantasy. That's the issue. Marcos Ortiz says the following. What does it say? Nico Collins, George Kittle, or Romeo Dobbs? I'll take George Kittle there, actual. Jay, what is your question, my man? Jay says, I asked how do you know Gus is the main guy over Hill? Just curious. I don't, well, okay, so here's the thing. We could start out the game and Justice Hill is the starting running back, but from what the depth chart says for the official Baltimore Ravens team, Gus Edwards is a starter. So my assumption is, based on his success over the course of the last 3 seasons, the fact that this is still a run-first team, even with a new offensive coordinator. I mean, if you want to run the ball, the efficiency is with Gus Edwards. The guy has averaged over 4.9 yards per carry over his entire career with the Baltimore Ravens. So, I mean, at this point, my assumption is that the skill level of Gus Edwards will surpass Justice Hill, and Justice Hill will probably get any sort of third down work going forward, but that's just it's an assumption. It's not like I can guarantee this is the case. That's why I have them both ranked within the top 36. Dylan or Gibbs PPR, I still have Dylan ahead of him. Reaper says, pick 1 PPR, 0.1 per rush. So that's an irrelevant stat. That's fine. Crazy to ask, but I hate Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson, Connor, or Kelly. If I'm playing 1.1 per rush and it's a PPR, I'm probably still playing Kelly regardless. Greetings and salutations, says Jimmy Crumbs. Zach Moss or Breece Hall? I would go with Zach Moss. But again, I could be wrong. Pittman or Gus Edwards? Pittman. Colts defense and drop Quentin Johnston, I'm fine with that. Assuming, again, they're starting this week and it's not just a pickup, just a hold. Terry McLaurin or Isaiah Pacheco? Give me Pacheco there. We had CB says Javonte Williams or Algier. Honestly, I'm going back and forth with the Javonte Williams, Algier, and a full PPR. I legitimately am. I think if it's my team, I probably just play Algier. It's tough, man. I don't know, man. They're so good. Both options are so good. I wish I could see the future, guys. Full PPR, need 1 running back in the flex. Rashad White, Jamal Williams, Kelly. I would rank it Kelly, Jamal Williams, White in that order. Nails. Cam Akers not playing. No, he is not playing. It doesn't really move up Kieran Williams' rankings anyway because he plays the 49ers today. That's the problem. Starting Nico Collins over Garrett Wilson, crazy. I don't know if it's crazy, but I think it's risky. I think it's risky because imagine if Garrett Wilson goes for a pretty good game, but again against Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, it's gonna be tough. I don't think it's crazy. You guys gonna regret benching Garrett Wilson, says Cracker. I mean, there's a possibility. He's a young talent. He's good. You just gotta get the ball in his hands. Matthew Palmer says Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Josh Kelly, Michael Thomas, Sanders, full PPR. Who am I rolling with? I'm going with the running back for the Chargers. Thank you. Mike Williams says Hopkins, White, Sanders. Hopkins, White, Sanders. In a full PPR, I think, let me check. I have the following. Where the heck is Sanders? DeAndre Hopkins is here. Miles Sanders there. DeAndre Hopkins is a suggestion. Thank you. Full PPR, Gibbs, Algier, Nakua. Yeah, it's Gibbs. Brady. D-Hop, Michael Pittman Jr. as my wide receiver too. I would probably play Pittman because of D-Hop's injury, or at least limitation. Saints defense, Browns or Buccaneers. I have the Saints defense higher than them all. White or Puka Nakua? I'll take Puka Nakua there. Should I drop Quentin Johnston for Tony before the game? If you want to, you can. I don't mind that. Again, trusting a Kansas City wide receiver probably is not going to bode well, but you could try it. Pacheco or Pickens? I'll take Pacheco this week. What do we have? We hate Zach Wilson that much? No, we don't hate Zach Wilson. We just don't think he's good at football. There's a difference. That's the difference. When people are like, yo, Andrew, you disrespecting these players because, listen, it's all about numbers. Can you score stats? It's nothing personal. It's just a numbers game. That's literally all we're playing. Who is going to score more points? And ultimately, it's just a matter of, can Zach Wilson, he can win games, but he can't score fantasy points. That's the issue. Akers inactive suddenly on the trading block. It's not suddenly. They probably have kind of been rumbling that all off season, but the Rams keep everything kind of locked up and away from us, so we don't really get to know what's going on. Kenny says Kyron Williams or Javonte. Javonte 1,000%. Higbee or Pitts. I mean, Pitts is going to have to see way more targets to be relevant. I don't know if I can trust it, man. Najee or Montgomery? Montgomery. All right, so in the chat, we had Michael Palmer, we took care of. Michael Williams says Hopkins, we took care of. Jay Sayan says Kirchhoff, half PPR. Kelly, Kirk as my second flex. Give me Kelly. Will Patel says, do I start Zach Moss over Miles Sanders? No, I would play Miles Sanders there. Follow-up question, Beast Hydra says Lockett or Gibbs in the flex. I have Montgomery full PPR. I would play Gibbs. Thank you. Can we see flex rankings? No. If you guys want to see flex rankings, you can go ahead and travel to Underdog Fantasy, link down in the description. Use code Andrew, make that first time deposit minimum of $10. Again, at this current moment in time, in order to be able to do so and be eligible to do so, you have to have never signed up and made a first time deposit before. And you also need to, oh my goodness, where did I go? You also need to, give me a second, Andrew's trying to adjust, bringing in a graphic. You also need to be, goodness gracious, somewhere that is eligible in the United States. Based on your eligibility, based on your age, there's all those prerequisites. You take advantage of it. You sign up using code Andrew. You make a first-time deposit minimum of $10. And then you'll get my rankings every single Sunday morning, which includes rankings, flex, full PPR, half PPR sent to your email. Or you can also check out Patreon. That is available. Otherwise, I try my best to answer as many flex questions as possible. What does that say? Rashad White over Breece Hall? Yeah, I would do that. If you don't like that, Pops, by all means, play Breece Hall. That's not a problem. Indy or Pittsburgh? I'll take Indy there. White or Lockett, flex full PPR? I'll take Lockett there. You already have Walker? I get that, but I'd probably still play Walker regardless. I still play Lockett regardless. Can we get defensive rankings one last time? Okay, it's going to be fast. It's not going to be slow. I'm gonna literally blaze right through it. Cowboys, 49ers, Saints, Browns, Broncos, Bills, Buccaneers, Giants, Packers, Colts, Falcons, Jets. All right, there it is. Thank you. Algier or Puka Nacua in the flex. Play Algier and a half PPR. Pacheco, Herbert, Roshan. Play Pacheco. Watson or Herbert. I'm assuming that's Deshaun Watson and Justin Herbert. Give me Justin Herbert. Mark Andrews, a must start. Abso-freaking-lutely. Let's see here. Akers inactive. Yep, we know. Roshan Johnson or Gus Edwards rest of the season? Probably Roshan Johnson, to be honest. Hey, start Algier or Puka Nacua in the flex. Algier. D'Lo says Akers is deactivated this week. Yep, we know. Trust me, we know. We got the report. Najee, Garrett Wilson, or Khalil Herbert. I will probably play Najee Harris there. Thank you. Commanders, good streaming option? I think they could be. Mainly because they play against Russell Wilson, but I think Jerry Jeudy's return does make it difficult. DJ Moore, Evans, Rashad White, Zay Jones, one wide receiver, one flex. I'm playing Evans and Moore there. Tim Short. Mike Story says half PPR Jamal Williams, Pittman, or Javonte. Out of those three options in a half PPR scoring format, I'm probably rolling with Jamal Williams there against Carolina's pretty advantageous matchup. All right, guys. I do appreciate for those of you guys who have, joined us this morning. That's going to cover it. We've established everything. We're good to go. Kicker rankings? Okay. All right. One last time. Kicker rankings. Tucker, Bass, Moody, McPherson, Butker, Groupie, Folk, Dicker, Sanders, Koo, McManus, Carlson. That's going to cover for me today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I might be back later today. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a video upload, maybe a live stream. Time will tell. Either way, thank you, everybody, for watching. Enjoy today's games. Let's avoid injury. And let's have the highest scoring fantasy week of the season, huh? Let's go ahead and let's get rid of week 2 and have an incredible let's get rid of week 1. Let's throw that into the past and let's have an incredible week 2 of the 2023 fantasy football season. I'm going to cue the music, and I will see you guys later. Peace.